Hello, can you hear me? Perfect. We should be starting. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us today for this event that is organized for our projects Fresh Waste and AETHER that are funded by the Greece-Italy Interreg program. Today, we are here to discuss the synergies that can be created through the two projects, as well as present what has been done and some of the first results that have been accomplished. I welcome everyone, and I ask Professor Stefanidis, Project Manager of the Fresh Waste Project for the University of Patras, to say a few welcome remarks. Thank you.
Thank you all for coming here today. I would like to welcome you all, especially our visitors from across the Adriatic. So if you have made the trip to come here today, we hope it is worth it. And we will try to make it worth it, let's say. We're going to have a rather long day, so we encourage everyone to stay on. But in any case, there will be parts of the day that maybe are more interesting to you. The day is devoted to our accomplishments in the cooperation between the two countries, Italy and Greece. So we have selected these two projects, Fresh Waste and AETHER, in order to demonstrate our most recent accomplishments between the two countries. And more precisely, it is worth to indicate that it relates to these neighboring shores. Okay, so just in a very, very short summary, the two projects deal with the empowerment of the citizen. So on the one hand, we have Fresh Waste, where we try to improve the way that, say, the producer has in order to move her or his goods overseas, and that would be their producer in Italy or in Greece, but in a way that it is more economical and more appealing and productive, so that in the end we have higher productivity and the citizen is empowered. And the second project, AETHER, deals with the ability of all of us, of certain areas, whether these are cities or smaller cities or villages, but areas in general, to plan and withstand the changes and the problems that may arise because of natural disasters or man-made disasters. In any case, it again empowers the citizen because it gives the opportunity to monitor an area and to provide more information to the citizen, and the citizen in this way is better equipped to work against adversities. So, to summarize, these are two projects that deal with the empowerment of the citizen, and the citizen is living in an area, a city, not necessarily a city, but an area, and so in the end we want to make that area livable. So in the past we have seen all the accomplishments that on the other shore Bari as a city has made through the years, and also here in Patras we also are trying to maybe make the same or similar accomplishments as Bari did over the years. So we have two cities that are moving ahead, and the objective, which we should keep in mind until the end of the day, the objective of our work together is, number one, to see how we can move ahead and capitalize on this work that we have made together through these projects, number one. And number two, how we can better empower the citizen to be able to make good use of the results of this work. So with that, I welcome you again, and please stay throughout the day. There is going to be plenty of opportunities to hear about our accomplishments of this cooperation between the two areas. Thank you again.
Thank you very much, Professor Stefanidis. Unfortunately, at this time, Mr. Zaimis, the Deputy Governor of the region of Western Greece, was supposed to have a few words regarding our projects and our events. He has been a little bit delayed, so he will have the opportunity to discuss it with you later on. So at this time, we also welcome Mr. Marinos Pilotros from the AETHER project and the Regional Strategic Agency for the Eco-Sustainable Development of the Territoria Puglia region, that is the lead partner of the AETHER project, to say a few words to welcome us. Thank you. On, yeah.
First of all, thank you for the invitation, and our greetings for our director, Mr. Sanicandro, and our region, Puglia. Of course, Italy and Greece, and especially Puglia and all of Greece, have a special relationship. This is from the past and the ancient times, so for us it's really important to develop ideas and projects and concrete things with you. Also, Western Greece and Puglia are active members of CPMR, and we work together also on that level in the Euro-Mediterranean Commission, and also for the new program that I think will start soon, but we still don't know. Gianfranco, we don't know. Maybe we can, let's say, move on and capitalize as much as we can from what we have done, and why not follow what is the new vision for 2013. And so develop new ideas, especially from young people that have this passion and these new, I don't want to repeat ideas, but that's what I mean. I mean, there are a lot of, let's say, assets that are not explored right now. We sometimes, and that's something that we have done in Regione Puglia, we make a sort of I don't want to say inspection, but let's say we see in all our department how many projects we have done, especially the ones that have the same topics. And what's funny, because at least in a couple of topics we had like 7 or 6 projects. They have done the same things but with a different name. So maybe this is a suggestion. We can work on projects that can share better our effort. I mean, to choose the one that we can develop, not in parallel, I don't know, with another region and Puglia. I mean, there is no reason to have 2 projects on the same topic. And maybe we can do 2 topics with 2 projects, so more opportunity. But I don't want to bother you, so thanks again for inviting us, and I will talk later with my colleague Angela about the AETHER project, right?
Thank you very much. And now we move forward with our welcome remarks from Mr. Gianfranco Cataletta, that is representing the JS coordinator of the ITER Greece Italy program, to say a few words for everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning. Thank you for your invitation. I'm very happy to be here because this event is a clear evidence that we are a community. When two different projects start in order to collaborate, in order to have to work together, like Fresh Waste, like AETHER, but we have also other examples in the past. I'm very, very happy because this is an evidence that we are a community, not only a program with some projects. And this is relevant for the goal of the territorial cooperation. Well, now we can just have a very first balance of the programming period, 2014-2020, because as you know, this is the last year of the programming period, and I hope very, very soon we will start also with the new programming period. Okay, as you can imagine, this programming period was an adventure for all of us. An adventure, I mean, nobody of us could imagine that we can have a 2-3 lockdown, the pandemic, the difficulties in order to meet each other. But despite all of that, we found all the goals. We found all the goals, not only the financial goals of the N+3 rules every year. We didn't lose money. We didn't lose money, and this is important for one hand. But for the other hand, we found also other methodological approach in order to meet each other, in order to continue our work, and was very, very relevant the implementation, to use also the new technologies, like the event that you are organizing today. The new technologies connected directly with the civil protection in order to protect the environment, the citizen, will be very, very relevant, not only today, but also for in the next days. And also, I'm strongly invite you in order to continue in this way, not specifical to continue for AETHER, in order to be clear. I'm joking, of course. But to continue in this way, in order to think how the new technology, especially for the next programming period, for example, not only for the drones, but also for the metaverso, for example, or for the big data, how they can help us in order to improve the quality of our life, the development of our territories, the economic development of our territories. This will be very, very relevant and important, and only the cooperation approach can help us in order to improve this kind of things. And this is, in my opinion, will be very relevant for all of us, and we should avoid to lose the idea. All our activities are directly linked with our territories and our citizens. Always, we should find a way in order to involve the citizen, in order to inform the citizen of our activities. This is very, very important for us. It's important not only because it's mandatory coming from the European Commission, we should do some communication activities. It's not only for that. It's only because we should explain how the cooperation can help with the life of our citizens of every day, why the cooperation is relevant, and our level of community is so high, and the citizen should know what we are doing. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Mr. Gianfranco. And now we can start with the first session of our presentations. And the first presentation is going to be an online one with Dr. Vasilis Agouridas, that is the leader of the UAM Initiative Cities Community, and of course the head of EU Public Co-Creation and Ecosystem Outreach for the Airbus Urban Mobility. He's going to give us a speech regarding the role of cities and regions in the emerging ecosystem of innovative aerial services. Thank you very much. And we can continue with his presentation. Thank you.
Hello. Good morning. I hope you can see and listen to me.
We cannot hear you clearly. Can you speak louder, please?
Hello, good morning.
Your connection is not really clear, and we cannot really hear you.
Hello. I don't know what to do because I guess it must be a problem from your side.
Now it's better. Thank you very much.
It's better?
Yeah,
oh, okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
So I will start now. Good morning to everyone. Thank you very much for the invitation. It is a pleasure to be able to contribute to this event from the perspective of the UIC2, which is the Urban Air Mobility Initiative Cities Community, which is part of the EU's initiative Civitas about urban mobility in general. What I would like to discuss, and following from what the previous speakers already introduced, the collaboration between the two regions and the importance of community and the importance of engaging with the local authorities and the residents of them, the citizens. And this is the perspective I would like to bring you. We're talking about here innovative aerial services, mainly through drones. This topic, the drones, have been one of the topics in this Interreg collaboration between Greece and Italy. And you will hear a lot of technical developments and achievements. But I would like to give you another perspective, the perspective of the UIC2. The UIC2 was established with the support of the European Commission in 2017. And as I hope you can see on the screen, it is a community of around 40 cities and regions across Europe. And something specific for this event, we have the municipality of Bari and the region of Western Greece, which is actually the latest member of the UIC2, to be members of it. The aim of this initiative is not to talk about technologies. It's in fact to bring the voice of cities and regions in the emerging sector of urban air mobility. In fact, there are a lot of different terms: urban air mobility, innovative aerial services. We can keep it simple and just refer to it as drones, or in the future, the so-called aerial vehicles for passengers transportation, that in fact they have the characteristic of flying low level over populated areas. Now, from the aviation perspective, depending on the type of application you have a different name. So I think we should not be confused here. Whether we say urban air mobility, innovative aerial services, we will be talking for the same thing. This community has also attracted, because of its work, the interest of international cities and regions across the world. So you can see that we have the Mie Prefecture from Japan, and also the Commonwealth of Massachusetts to be also members. and a number of knowledge partners like, for example, the Airport Regions Council, ARC, which is also where the region of Western Greece is a member of. What I would like to focus here is, as I mentioned, not the focus on the technology part, to give you the scope of the UIC2 that in fact is coming from the city perspective, putting the city in the center and trying to adopt a city-centric and citizen needs-driven approach. This means that the cities that are working here, they try to develop policy thinking and try to influence the development of policies about drones, about urban air mobility in the context of sustainable urban mobility, with a focus on the UAM. For example, what are the interfaces of these new technologies and services of UAM with public transport if we are talking about transportation of passengers? What it will be the case of mobility as a service, how the drones or the future so-called air taxis could be part of it in the context of an integrated transportation system or mobility system. From this perspective, it's not only mobility as a service. These technologies can allow us to develop better the so-called logistics as a service, or even health as a service, where the drones will be only a part of them in the context of the wider healthcare service. Another element that is very important is the infrastructure required for UAM, whether it is the ground infrastructure, for example, the new type of so-called vertiports. These are small, say, landing pads to be able to have these vehicles to land. But not only that, it's about the energy grid, how we're going to charge them. It's about the different interfaces and the integration of the different infrastructures for mobility that need to be addressed. And there is a fourth element, which is the more, I would say, aviation-oriented. It has to do with air traffic management or unmanned traffic management. These are two different terms in aviation. And in fact, what are the implications for the air traffic from this emergence of the new technologies? And in fact, here, Europe has been leading the work through the regulatory agencies and a number of actors from aviation in order to develop frameworks for unmanned traffic management at low level that in Europe is called U-Space. In fact, U-Space is the new regulation that the European Commission has developed and is being implemented by the member states. So the cities have been dealing with all of these different topics, and I will show you some examples that also fit more specifically to this collaboration between Greece and Italy in the context of Interreg. The first topic, as I mentioned to you, you have seen from the previous list, is about the notion of integrated mobility and sustainable urban mobility. For those who are a little bit familiar with the topic of sustainable urban mobility, you might be aware about the sustainable urban mobility plans that the European Commission has been promoting over the last decade. And in fact, these are the strategic plans that every city or region is encouraged to have. And for the bigger ones, it becomes even mandatory to have such a strategic plan so that the different modes of mobility can be really treated in an integrated manner, and not just for implementing technology, but for serving the needs of the citizens. What we did here, as we had to, the European Commission has asked UIC2 and the cities of the UIC2 that are the front runners in Europe about trying to develop some pilot projects or think about how we can use to consider how the SUMP approach, the Sustainable Urban Mobility Planning approach, could be applied or related to the introduction of urban air mobility. So combining the principles of the SUMP, the SAMP, plus the experience from the cities and the lessons learned, UIC2 in December 2021 presented the SAMP UAM practitioner briefing, which is since now 1 year, an official document from the European Commission and specifically from ELTIS, which is the European Commission's Observatory on Mobility. You can find the details if you want to have access to it, to see what the cities have developed and how they consider the implementation of urban air mobility applications. So this is one of the topics that is from the mobility. The other topic, as we discussed, is about the airspace. We are used when we talk about airspace to think of the sky. And you see even on this figure that on the left side, we have the planes that correspond to the sky. On the lower level, we have the small drones that we already have been experiencing for some years. What is happening now is that we start to see more and more applications, or the potential for more applications about drones. And this is where the challenge goes. To manage the planes as we know, today we have air traffic management that is managed by mainly air traffic controllers. So we have a very strong human factor, and there is coordination between humans. This is one of the reasons we have very high level safety records in aviation. You don't hear planes to collide between themselves every day, right? It has to be a very rare event that this can happen, and for many different strange reasons. So how can we ensure that this type of coordination can take place even when we start to have a lot of these new types of flying vehicles, the drones, that not only there are many, so it's difficult to manage, but they have to fly at low level, which means over cities. So it becomes a very challenging activity for the human factor. So if we ever want that this happens, it is compulsory that it has to be based on technology, to exploit technology, to digitalize the airspace in order to ensure the needed safety and security levels. And this is where the aviation industry has been working minimum the last more than 5 years, more intensively, I would say, in the domain of drones, by trying to capitalize the evolutions in the digital technologies, the digitalization of the airspace, at least at these low levels. And in fact, it is envisioned that the developments we will do in these low levels will then be cascaded up to the sky, to have a fully integrated airspace, no matter what you fly. This is the big challenge from the aviation industry. What is coming now as an additional challenge that is not always thought, or at least the previous years, by the aviation stakeholders, as the focus has been really on the technological challenges and the regulatory and procedures, has been the emerging governance topics from this new type of activity, and in fact about what is the role of local authorities, cities, municipalities, regions, prefectures, and the role of that, and the governance that relates also to integrated mobility. Already I tried to outline to you in the previous slides the topics about mobility. We have a number of new stakeholders here, and this governance topic is one of the most challenging at the moment because it goes beyond technologies. Just to give you an example here, this is from the city of Hamburg, which is one of the first members of the UIC2. And this is how we try to illustrate the emerging challenges. We know the planes, they go to the airports and they typically fly high from a city. You see also in this city environment, drones that start to fly. And many of them may fly quite at low level, even lower than the tallest buildings we may have in a city. So how are we going to manage this new type of traffic? What are the challenges and opportunities from this new type of traffic? We're not used to that. So we need to capitalize on their space digitalization, as I mentioned to you. We need to create a new type of infrastructure that it is not necessarily aviation oriented, it's about mobility or both of them and how they can be integrated. And these interfaces is what is very important, because it is through these interfaces where the benefits for the society, for the citizens will arise. And these interfaces will enable new businesses and new services. And in the overall context, what we need also, as it's about innovation here, we need to be able to adapt to the extent possible for the benefit of the citizens quickly this type of new technologies. So we need to have fresh approaches to policy and regulatory, more agile, so we can implement this quickly to the society. So we have new perspectives from industry, from what you can see here, new economic spaces above cities, and overall new perspectives for mobility. So all of this situation, in fact, brings a new status quo about what is happening above cities and regions. And it offers new opportunities, the urban air mobility to cities and regions, but at the same time, new tasks and responsibilities for them. We have to acknowledge also that the cities and regions, from the more governance perspective, are the layer of government which is closest to the citizens. So from this perspective, they are an essential player, an influential player, and they should have a role when we decide about how we are going to use the airspace above a city or a region, for example. This is not something that we have been used in aviation, whether we are an operator or a regulator or the society itself. We have certain mindsets about how we use aviation, how we use airspace. This is where the challenge is coming. And in fact, the cities of the UIC2 in December 2020, during the preparation of the new regulation, the new European regulation about the U-space, that we said is this low-level airspace, they wrote a manifesto to signal the importance of the role of cities in the so-called multi-level governance of the urban sky. This manifesto has been supported, signed by a number of members of the UIC2 and non-members as well at that time. And you can see here there are more than 30 of them, plus support from the international cities of ME and Massachusetts in Boston, and a number of other associations across Europe working in the area, the wider area of innovation, technology, and mobility. So this very strong, I would say, community effort has led to an update of the actual regulation by including the so-called Article 18F that highlights the need for the competent authorities of member states to establish a mechanism to coordinate with other authorities, including at the local level. This is the impact from this manifesto. This regulation was voted, and it is a part of the European framework of managing drones in April 2021. And since then, it has been the European Commission's safety agency, EASA, has been working to develop the details, so-called guidance material or means of compliance, on what this means. So in fact, the material that has been published in last December, just to say a month ago, provides details about this Article 18F on how to build a coordination mechanism. That, as you can see from these pictures here, it goes beyond the usual, I would say, involved agencies like the different competent authorities and the aviation guys. You need to include also local authorities, local entities, anyone that may be impacted by this new type of air traffic. And this article also puts forward new tasks, new processes, and even new roles, like the role of the EU Space Coordinator. This is something that was not existing before. For your information, and I think this is what is interesting now to everyone, is that this regulation, it has an entry into force from the 26th of January 23. So this is 2 days from now. So we have to see how this will be developed across the different member states. And I call here, in the context of indirect, the different actors to think not only for your own region, but perhaps start to consider what could be the implications from cross-border operations, or even explore at an interregional level how you could collaborate to have a harmonized approach of how you implement these new regulations, and especially from the context of the road that your regions may have. I'm trying to conclude now. So just to give you a final spin about what the UIC2 is doing, the overall aim is to drive the sustainable and responsible transition of mobility by putting the cities and regions in the driving seat, while trying to address the 3 topics you see here, to seek the synergies between the ground and air mobility, to co-create with citizens, and to establish public-private support. And in this context, the cities have created task forces to deal with in each one of these topics. And a lot of achievements have been resulted from this community effort. And I need to clarify here that the UIC2 is not a funded project. It is purely an initiative by cities and regions. There is no financing means except the own voluntarism of the cities and regions. So it's quite, I believe, spectacular, the impact of this community, showing the power of community with the different achievements and contributions to the overall policy with the European Commission and the impact in European Union. I mentioned to you about the EU Space regulatory framework, and you can see some other key highlights. And of course, the UIC2 is working close with all the major associations or communities that deal with sustainable urban mobility, like the Polish Network, ETHER, and of course, the ARC, the Airport Regions Council. So to summarize, UIC2 serves as a city-centric platform to ensure a holistic approach to urban mobility, no matter if it is ground or air, by putting the perspective of the citizen there, to proactively engage with the citizens and to co-create with public and private actors. And this aspect of co-creation perhaps is a buzzword because you may have heard it in many presentations and discussions at European level, but it's not really a buzzword. I believe this is the key for finding ways of bringing together the many different stakeholders to work together, align their objectives towards sustainable and responsible innovation. So it is more than a business ecosystem. The sort of drones is about a social business ecosystem. It is about, for us as a society, clarifying how we want the technology to be used, what the technology can do for us, not just what the technology can do in general. This is how I conclude. Thank you very much for listening to me. And if there are any questions, I'm very happy to answer.
Thank you very much, Dr. Agoudidas, for your presentation and for showcasing us how we can build upon an ecosystem to include these innovative aerial services and build upon urban air mobility that is crucial nowadays, and aviation mobility, how this can be combined, showcasing us how our 2 next projects that we have been mentioning here, the AETHER project that has included the aviation sector, and also the Freshways project that is mainly focused on mobility and transportation. So thank you very much for your presentation today. And if there is any more questions, we can continue on. A slight change in our programs. We have here today with us Mr. Fokion Zaim, is the Deputy Governor of Entrepreneurship, Research and Innovation of the region of Western Greece. I call him to have a small to join our panel and have a few small welcome remarks. Thank you.
Welcome to Patras, to the region of Western Greece, Mr. Kataleta, dear friends, dear professor, Sergio Allegre. It's my pleasure and I'm very happy to be here today because we've been working in these projects for several years. I am a fan, personally, of the aviation sector for many years due to my service in the military Air Force. That was a long time ago. But since then, I kept my ties and my links with the sector. The two projects today are very important. Each project has its own significance. Freshways is very important because it brings closer the region of Western Greece with the region of Apulia and give us an important know-how of how we can actually work better to a more sustainable way, and how we can use the aviation sector in order not only to bring in passengers, but also products. I have to say that sometimes I'm very happy and optimistic, and sometimes I'm not, because what we are doing today, with all these technological tools that we have and this new regulation, has been done many times in the past, even before the Second World War. We are not reinventing the wheel. We're just trying to upgrade and update and bring it in today's problems and today's situation. Today, the population of our countries and of Europe is increasing, at least in comparison with several decades ago. The transportation of products and of people is very important, and it has to go faster, better, safer. So you cannot do it in any other way unless you have the right tools, and the right tools for that, the main tools is usually the aviation sector. I have to say that there has been a lack of development in many times, for example, in the hydroplanes. We had a line, then we didn't have a line. Now we're trying to work again with Italy and Greece to have hydroplanes again. So it's an ongoing effort in order to connect the two countries and the regions, of course, and within the regions. The aviation sector itself is spending a lot of money on research. It's one of the areas that there's been, especially from the big companies, but also from the Euro Commission, one of the biggest absorptions of budgets on research. And part of that research goes to the pure aviation sector, because you have a competition in the global, in the global economic area. But also part of that money goes also into the non-manned vehicles like the drones, as we say. It is not something that is to come, it's something that we see today. Many countries have advanced and have a lot of uses of the drones. I can say just very few examples that I know. For example, in China today, the majority of the cultivation and the spraying of agricultural products is done by drones today, more than 50%. Europe is lagging behind on that for many reasons. One of the reasons is because we're still working on the regulatory framework. There is a framework on how to fly a drone, but there is not a framework on specific problems, like the initiative of Mr. Agouridas that he showed before, the UIC2, is part of that. Because when you start working on specific uses and on specific applications, then you have a lot of problems on the regulatory framework, especially in the cities or in densely populated areas. The European Commission itself is working to develop with the member states and the experts on this an updated regulation. UIC2 is very important because it involves the municipalities and the regions. the airport regions councils, where we have today the managing director, Mr. Sergio Allegri, is with us, and he will speak tomorrow about us. It's an association of municipalities and regions that plays an important role on the lobbying of this sector. But what we see is that the development worldwide sometimes goes faster than we do. Even in the terrible situation of the war in Ukraine and Russia, we see that the war is developing much with drones and not with humans. So we see that there is a lot of applications. We have worked on a MOU as a region with the police, with the fire brigade and the Coast Guard. 2 years ago, we have an agreement, and we bought a number of drones as a region, and we will give them to them free in order to use them as they consider, as they want. The important factor is to have also expert personnel in the organization chart, not only once per year, but daily. It's something that they use daily. And we're still lacking behind on that. I believe that what the region of Western Greece has done, working with the Ministry of Civil Protection, is an important initiative. And I hope other regions as well will follow that example. Municipalities. The situation in the municipalities is much, much worse. I believe that even in the big municipalities like Athens or Thessaloniki or Piraeus, etc., I don't think there is even a department of that. They don't even know what is coming, what is already here. There's an elephant in the room and they haven't seen it. And when the first problem will occur, usually it comes when an accident happens, because the media will go on it, the political representatives will pay attention only where there is an accident. This is how a lot of things have developed. And then we say, why we don't have the regulatory framework, why we don't have the right people, why we don't have in the organization chart the right people. So what we're doing here is important because we try to open a road, a way, before a crisis, as we say, will happen. So I want to thank also Mr. Gadaleta, who was aware of this initiative, both projects, and especially AETHER, and he really understands the importance of that, and he was one of the people who welcomed the idea some years ago. And thank you again, Mr. Gadaleta, for your help and your assistance. We are very happy to have some important speakers for 2 days, today and tomorrow. Today is more international, and tomorrow we will have a lot of local speakers from the government and from the local authorities. But I think the mingling and the mixing of both speakers from Greece, Italy, and other countries as well is very important in order to exchange the know-how. I would like to thank you, welcome you in Patras again. We have a wonderful day today. That means that we will have the company who is with us today to show us how to fly the drone. I think after lunch we will have this test. And it's very good that we have very good weather today because we had a lot of rain for 1 week. So thank you again. And I would like also to thank Mr. Stefanidis. He's one of the wise people behind this project as well. As a Department of Civil Engineering, there's a lot of uses in the viable, sustainable development. Mr. Stefanidis, thank you again for your help on building up this important project. And we really have a lot of work to do. But I think we've done something difficult in the beginning. We put it on the table. It's on the table. Both the regulatory framework is on discussion, how to implement it in the public sector, how to build, how to train the people in order to use it, and how to be more competitive, because I think Europe in general has to be more competitive, because in the global environment we live, a lot of countries go very fast, they're more flexible, we're not so flexible, but I think we're in the right track. Thank you very much, and again, welcome to Patras and the region of Western Greece.
Thank you very much, Mr. Zaim, for your kind words, and of course, for hosting us here today and for helping with organization. As you know, today's session is co-organized by the University of Patras and the region of Western Greece under these two projects. So we move forward with our presentations. We have now the presentation of the AETHER project, and we have the honor of having us today the lead partner of the project, Mr. Marinos Spilotros and Ms. Angela Brescia from the Regional Strategic Agency for the Eco-Sustainable Development of the Territory for the Apulia region. So thank you very much.
Okay. And this one? Forward? Okay, perfect. Okay, thank you. Good morning again. And now we are going more in depth of the AETHER project, as I mentioned it before. And we start with a brief presentation of ASSET and what we do, what we have done, and what we hope to we will done. Just doesn't go. Okay, perfect. So, as mentioned, ASSET is the regional strategic agency of Regione Puglia, Apulia region, and to identify in one word is the engineering of the Regione Puglia. As you can see, we deal with a lot of topics, from sustainable mobility and transport, road safety, public works, housing policies, healthcare construction, landscape protection and enhancement of cultural heritage, hydrogeological risk, strategic planning, and of course, EU project. These are only few, but we have even more because we have also a fishery project linked to the FEAMP, the new one FEAMP, also Horizon, and so research project, and so on. I want to link with something that the speaker before said, and to give you an idea how Regione Puglia is moving now. Here we have also ARPA, that is another regional agency, and we have the one of the partner that is also Regione Puglia of Freshways, that is Aeroporti di Puglia. It's a joint stock company, but the 80% is Regione Puglia. So basically it's Regione Puglia as well. And it means that we are directly involved in all the projects, not only in the present, but also in the future view. That's why in June we approved a series of, let's say, future planning. Before I say Vision 2030, and ASSET is one that is in the task force to develop this kind of vision. Before going more in deep, as we say, we are also the one that we are in charge with the CRPM and the Mediterranean Commission, and about the project with drones. We are involved directly and also indirectly, because Interpol asked to us to become a pilot especially during the Mediterranean Games in 2026, in order to test if this new idea of, let's say, transport could be a possible terroristic attack. Because we don't have to forget that the attack that we had, the 9/11, the pilot were taught and they're learning to fly in the United States. So they want to develop if there could be also a sort of dangerous, especially in the city that are high, where there is a high density of population. But of course, there is always some, when you start a new project, a dark side. Going to the project, to the AETHER. So, no. Okay. 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 AETHER is, of course, an Interreg project, Italy-Greece. It's a cooperation program on priority access 2. It's integrated environmental management. Ah, this one. Ah, okay. Perfect. And the main objective is improvement of joint management and governance plans for biodiversity of coastal and rural ecosystem, paying more attention on natural resource and protected areas. And we know that Puglia and Greece has a lot of this area that must be protected. That's why, for example, one of our goals, it's also to lead with the hydrological risk, but also the impact of, for example, of tourism on certain area, like the protected area. The partnership asset is the lead partner, and then we have the Civil Protection Department of Regione Puglia, Western Greece, of course, the region of Epirus, and the Ionian Islands. The common traits are continuous loss of habitat and biodiversity, and of course, what happened is, of course, the deterioration of the environment, the inefficient use and fruitful exploitation of natural and cultural resources, the sea pollution issues, and in the Adriatic Sea, this is a main topic problem. Forest fire and lack of coordination in immediate management and common warning and prevention measures, and that's become one of the major problems. Let's see what's happened in the last summer. That was one out of the hottest summer, and for example, ASSET, it's in a huge project, Horizon project, that want to prevent the risk of fire. And just to have an idea, there are the most, the most fire area in the world. We have Brazil, we have Australia as pilot in this project. There is Puglia, there is Sardinia, and there is also Western Greece. So it's quite an important project as well. And we have the coastal erosion issue, because what happened, of course, it's also that the sea is not like in the other season that was, I don't want to say more calm, but let's say there are now unpredictable huge waves that are, let's say, invading our coast. I don't know in Greece, but in Puglia, a lot of sandy beach simply disappear in a couple of here. Poor valorization of local productive resource and illegal fishing in protected areas. So, how you can see, the common traits are very transversal, multidisciplinarity, and that's have to be one of the major points and the strong point that we can put effort. Put all the traits in the multidisciplinarity way. The common needs and challenge, on the other side, are to protect biodiversity, of course, to fill the gap of services and infrastructure in period of maximum touristic pressure. We know what happens when you are basically invaded from tourists. What we are trying to do in Puglia, and in a certain way we are working well, is not say that destagionalize, I don't know in English, it's the same question, okay. Okay. But here of tourism. So every month, every weekend, it's a good period to visit our country. Of course, to tackle the sea pollution due to waste discharge and accumulation. In the last call of Interreg Med, we presented 3 projects, and couple of that are dealing with the plastic free in the sea. To strengthen the environmental protection measures, to reduce the impact and to make society stronger for future pollution events, disaster, calamity, or epidemiological issues. That's very important, and I think we have learned a lot from the COVID period, but a lot have to be done as well. And to foresee an integrated effort of institutional and scientific community working on marine and coastal issue. And regions like the one that are involved in AETHER and Puglia are the classical and perfect example to work with. I leave the floor now to Angela, that will continue, and she will go more in depth of the project.
So, thank you Marino, and thank you all colleagues from Region of Western Greece and University of Patras for this invitation. This is the second in-person meeting for AETHER project, and it is a great pleasure to be able to meet again. Before speaking, I just want to make a step back. Marino explained the partnership of this AETHER project, but as you saw from just these few words of Marino, this is a very strategic project and big project that needs the involvement of many organizations. In fact, together and behind, close to the partners, official partners, there are also other important organizations with which we are collaborating. And from the Italian side, we have ARPA Puglia, and we have here our colleagues from ARPA Puglia. We have also Siambari. From Greece, we have University of Patras and University of Ionian Island. And all these organizations, we are working together in order to reach the strategic objectives. So, oops, please, it's possible. Okay. Okay, so In the meanwhile, we are waiting. I want just to try to have a connection and a link to the presentation we heard before. I put some notes, for example, digital transition, or also digitalization, infrastructures, interfaces, new businesses, new mindset, a new regulatory approach, also digital and sustainable transition. These words were applied to air mobility and urban mobility concept. In this case, we are trying to use the same concepts also to environmental sector and to sustainable development. In fact, as we will see just in a few words, AETHER is a very complicated and strategic project because it tackles several assets. We are dealing with drones, like for example, region of Western Greece made a great investment in drones for further application. We are working, for example, in Italy with ASSET and SIAM and also ARPA with the environmental risk assessment, and we are dealing also with a pilot on sustainable aquaculture. We are working with colleagues of region of Ionian Island in order to create a network made by sensors with low cost in order to have an environmental monitoring approach that could be wider to support civil protection. We have civil protection in Italy, and they are working to develop an ICT platform that could be used at cross-border level in order to tackle the environmental risk and natural risks. And we have a region of Epirus and with the colleagues that are here today, and they are dealing with the marine litter and also environment protection, so big investment in marine litter and environment protection in Sajada area. So the strategic objective of AETHER could be summarized with these words: to enhance the strategic role of public institutions working together in Greece and Italy through joint governance and management of plans built at transnational level, to share and define environmental protection actions and the sustainable use of marine, coastal, and mainland resources. So these are just really few words, but what I want to underline is that we are working together at transnational level. Behind these strategic objectives, we have also some specific objectives, and I'm going faster, because we have some plans. We are working to define a methodology to make the environmental risk assessment under the guidance, scientific guidance of ARPA Puglia, and all partners. We are working in order to define this methodology that could be considered one of the main output of this project to be applied at cross-border level. We are defining also some other plans, like for example, a green paper for civil protection. We are working with some how can I say, new approach for involvement of people. In fact, we say, before we say, proactively engage of people. So within AETHER project, we are using an approach of citizen science approach. I don't know if you have ever heard about this citizen science, but the logic is that environment, sustainable development cannot be done only by few people. This needs a common effort done also by citizens. And this is exactly what we are trying to do, defining some pilot actions in order to have the involvement from very young people, students, up to professionals. So this is what we are doing with this citizen science approach. And last but not least, we have 5 big pilot activities. I repeat again. The first one is region of Western Greece that purchased drones in order to make pilot activities with civil protection, with the fire brigade, and we are going to see some tests and application for this. So we are opening the road to a new application, as we heard before, and also colleagues from University of Patras, together with the region of Western Greece, they are working closely with the other partners in order to empower and create a cross-border ICT platform to manage the risks, the natural risks. Then we have, again, Puglia region, we have with ASSET and SIAM and Bari, we are developing and sustainable aquaculture aquaculture protocol in the inner sea of Taranto, and we are working with a local company that produces mussels in order to have a more sustainable production method, and we are also working with the ecosystem development plans related to this in order to have a more sustainable business. Then we are working also with the colleagues of civil protection that I said before. They restored an hub in near Taranto in order to tackle tsunami risks, and they are also working for the developing of a STEP platform. We have region of Ionian Island. They are closely working with the University of Ionian Island. In fact, in the next days, I saw that we will hear some presentation also from their side to create a network done with low-cost sensors. I want to underline this, low-cost sensors, because it means that technology is close to citizens, close to people in order to save the environment. And so this is important because what we are trying to do is to bring technology, innovation really close to the territory for the sustainable environment. And last but not least, also colleagues from region of Epirus, they are tackling an important issue with marine litter and also the empowerment of fishermen in order to support them to be much more sustainable also in their activities and in their production. So in these few words, this is AETHER project, and it is a challenge. It is a cross-border challenge that we have to tackle and to work together in order to reach these objectives.
Thank you very much, both Mr. Spilotros and, of course, Ms. Angela Brescia. You can sit here, Angela. You can sit here. So, for the presentation of the AETHER project, as it was mentioned, AETHER project has a specific strategic vision, as we are talking about a specific project. Various actors are involved, regions, of course, the region of Apulia, along with the region of Ionian Islands and Western Greece. And, of course, in the region of Apulia, the asset. And we can move forward and see what this vision has accomplished and how, in the next few months, further actions can be accomplished and produced. So now we move forward with the next presentation, that it's going to be an online presentation from Mr. Epaminondas Amoratis from the Hellenic Civil Aviation Authority. And he's going to talk about us regarding the Hellenic Aviation Service Provider, UAS, Regulatory Framework, IT tools for users. Thank you very much. Mr. Amoratis, can you hear us? Mr. Amoratis, we cannot hear you. You have your speaker turned off. Microphone. Microphone, it's turned off. Yes.
I hope you can hear me right now. Good morning to everybody. My name is Epaminondas Amoratis from Hellenic Aviation Service Provider, Regulatory Division, Airspace Department. First of all, I was to start my presentation with topics of our interest as air traffic management and UAS traffic management providers.
I'm sorry, Mr. Amoratis, sorry for disturbing you. Yeah. If it is possible, if you can speak a bit louder and clearer, because we have trouble hearing you. And of course, you can share your full screen in order to see the whole presentation. Thank you.
I hope you can see my screen. Do you see my screen?
Yes, we can see your screen. It's not in a presenter mode.
Okay, we'll do it.
It's okay. If it's not possible, just let us know.
Can you see the screen in presentation mode?
No, we are still seeing the slides, not presentation mode.
Slides.
It's okay. If it's not possible, we can continue as it is, if it is convenient to you as well. So please continue with your presentation. Thank you.
Yes. From Hellenic Aviation Service Provider, we are quite accustomed to state cooperation, coordination and collaboration, especially through BlueMed, the Mediterranean countries of Italy, Greece, Malta, and Cyprus, who are bound together since 2012 as one of the 9 functional airspace blocks of the single European sky, provided for by the EU regulatory framework. We are right now, we are cooperating within BlueMed, and we're keeping on cooperating. The present directions for all EU states, as far as the drone sector is concerned, and generally the aviation is concerned, is the sustainability. I will give you 3 or 4 words that can give us the whole idea. First of all, it is the sustainability, ecological, social, and economic sustainability. Then there is the digitalization of the air traffic, and the new actor in the air traffic, the drones activity, which can be deployed over the cities or all across the boundaries of the countries, and could be a cross-border activity. That is the opportunity we are studying right now. And of course, the modality of different sectors of transportations and mobility on the ground, in the air, and on the sea. And of course, there is the opportunity to have the involvement in respect of social sustainability, the involvement of prefectures and regions and cities all over the place, and all over the new sector that is developed, for which is this development can contribute to the growth of the whole economy. As you can perceive, there are new opportunities for the transportation of the mobility, and the development for transportation, not even for in new modes right now with drones, beyond the known ones of airplanes and the transportation of goods and persons through manned airplanes. So there are
sorry, Mr. Amoratis, if you can hear me. If you're trying to change your slides, we cannot see the next slide. We can still see the first one. So maybe, yeah. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. that is this is the regulatory framework. These the requirements for UAS flights in Greece. There are regulatory requirements for registration of drones and the categorization of drone activity, which is foreseen by the EU regulation. There is the obligation of registration in for the UAS drones operators in states registry. The remote pilot's obligation of having a certificate after passing training, either online or by a physical participation in schools. And then there is the operational authorization for a specific category and beyond the visual line of sight activities of drones. All these are mentioned in European Community, European Union laws, and there is further the challenge to give the authorizations for cross-border activities, which is a complex exercise right now for regulatory authorities of countries. But we expect from the stakeholders of transportation and the interested parties of having a new intermodal transportation that will involve drones and airplanes and ships and whatsoever, trains and so on, to go on and cooperate with the authorities and service providers for the air traffic management and UAS drones traffic management, so as to have this clear space for activities that can contribute to growth and communication of people and goods through cross-border transportation activities. Further on, these are the, I cannot give you details on them. There is the EU regulation framework in place for all these activities, such as for the rules and procedures, 947-219 is the basic regulation, and then for the drones, and then there is the U-Space regulation that Mr. Avoulidas also mentioned. Further on, there was a development and the regulatory frame now from 2021 onwards is within EU legislation framework, and all those interested could be informed by the authorities on the regulation and regulatory framework in place. One have to have in mind that the states have the power to allow and or forbid the activities of pilotless aircraft according to ICAO ICAO Convention, Chicago Convention, Articles 8 and 36. In Greece, we have a system which has two parts. We have a web-based informational system, which has two parts. One part for the registration of citizens that can do all the paperwork through the internet, and then the counterpart of flight operations and restrictions, flight plans, and drones, flight plans management, which is handled by the BAAGR web application, all through internet without physical or paperwork on physical presence of persons. So within current organization structure, Hellenic Aviation Service Provider and the Hellenic Civil Aviation Authority have split responsibilities and roles, and we are expecting initiatives like your initiative to be handled within our remit of responsibilities and roles, and further on to cooperate with our counterparts in Italy, in Malta, and in Cyprus under the umbrella of BlueMed Functional Airspace Block, which is ratified by the four parliaments in 2012. Further on, you can see what the restrictions are within a rural area, the Athens greater area, and the city, which is more or less restricted for drones. Anyway, this is our, and then you can see, of course, for the islands which are covered more or less by restrictions. So our role is to ease the difficulties and lift the burden from drone operators, and we are here to discuss initiatives so as to make our lives more sustainable on all aspects, social, economic, financial, and ecological at the same time. I think yeah, this is all for us, from us. There is no something to add. If I can respond to any questions at your disposal. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Amoratis, for your presentation regarding the Hellenic Aviation Service Provider and what has been done regarding the drone awards and the aviation initiative. So at this time, we move forward with our next presentation. That is a general presentation of the STED platform that has been created in the AETHER project. And the presentation is going to be presented by the technical assistance of the Civil Protection Department of the Apulia region. I'm not sure if someone is connected in the STED platform. Let us check. Thank you. Maybe Mr. Gianni Calabrese is here available to join us and talk about the STEP platform. Thank you.
Just wrote me that he has some problem.
Mr. Calabrese, can you hear us? Can you write in the Zoom chat maybe? Can you hear us? Mr. Calabrese, can you hear us? Can you check if you can hear us? So
the meanwhile, he's trying to share the screen.
you have problems sharing your screen or with your microphone? Yes, he is trying to connect, but unfortunately we cannot hear him. The presentation is visible, but we don't have sound. So we should wait a few minutes to see if this can be corrected, and then maybe we can move forward.
Hi everybody, can you hear me?
We can hear you now. Can you hear us? Can you speak a bit louder?
So can I start? Should I start?
Yes, perfect. If you can share the full screen, it will be perfect. Thank you. So Mr. Gianni Calabrese is going to talk about the STEP platform that has been created in the AETHER project. Thank you very much.
Good morning everybody. I don't know if you hear me. Anyway, I shared the PowerPoint presentation on behalf of Civil Protection section PB2 of the project AETHER, STEP platform. Okay, thank you, Angela. The condition of fragility of the Apulian territory due to the natural vulnerability and accentuated by housing conditions is confirmed by damage produced by the damage produced by climate change. The reduction of the impact produced by the risks required a strategy able to identify the causes that have increased the exposure to harmful phenomena and an information system to support effective monitoring and timely intervention. In this scenario, Synapse project is aimed at the development of an integrated system to support the management of information flows between subjects involved in various ways in relation to civil protection issues, decision-making, and strategic coordination, allocation of resources, services, equipment, means, resource, etc. Here you can see a map of the region, of course, with the emergency event along the region that you can show to the left of the screen. The function is integrated contents coming from into a single information flow of mutual interest in the field of civil protection, support decision-making and strategic coordination phases in emergency situation and in ordinary alert conditions, support the intervention procedures of the Permanent Unified Operations Room of the Regional Civil Protection, allowing the management of voluntary association and other forces involved in the activities of overcoming the calamitous event, of course. Guarantee the access of the planning data acquired at various levels, so municipal, intermunicipal, region, to the competent bodies. Support the monitoring and alerting functions typical of the SFD Apulia, the Decentrated Functional Center, making available functions for the publication of critically bulletins, alert messages, and critically warnings. In brief, you can see the function with the management of emergency event in region, blue, the hydraulic control, the territory and the critical points that have monitoring, the monitoring, of course, telemetry network for the monitor of the threshold and alerting systems, the integration of forecasting models, hydraulic forecast modeling data integration, the forecast bulletins and alerts, generation of forecast maps, bulletins, warnings, and messages, multi-channel alerts. The planning, which means a collection in homogeneous structure of the municipal civil protection plans, and the coordination of interventions with the management of intervention, the field force with fleet monitoring and tracking way. So the STEP platform, state-of-the-art technology-based environmental protection, is a digital platform with surveillance, early warning, coordination, and recovery capabilities for environmental emergencies. Platform is similar to the Synapse platform, with which is shared map serve, database, and some functionalities. The solution provides a support in decision-making processes, the strengthening the capacity of agency to coordinate in crisis situation, and the ability to provide to the platform smart data. This is another screenshot of the STEP platform, which is a state, of course, of the art of the platform that shows in our territory. The architecture, the information system allows the consultation, management, and the publishing of territorial graphics and alphanumeric databases through the internet network. The system allows users to navigate through geographic and thematic data. It is a three-level architecture with the front-end, back-end, and the database level, as you can see to the right of the screen. The solution is based on open source frameworks such as PostgreSQL, PostGIS database, GeoServer, MapServer, OpenLayers, and other JavaScript framework. The main advantages of the platform is the public access, dedicated login, and the lawyer configuration that we will see in the next slides. The solution, of course, has a public access with the information visibility defined by administrator. The Synapse platform need login to access. And the access is reserved data and functions dedicated to Synapse platform need speed access. It is important to recognize that territory mapping show the interdependencies of various layers in order to integrate them spatially and take more support information. The system gives the possibility to configure layers and integrate different territorial data. This is a description of the login access, the platform, with the reserved area, and the layer configuration with all the informational level and the data that is possible to check on the map. That's all, and thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Mr. Calabrese, for your brief presentation of the STEP platform and how this was accomplished, as well as the experience through the previous platform as well. Since we are a little bit behind schedule, we will be having a short break right now, and we will be back on for coffee break, and we will be back on 12 to continue with the next section of presentation dedicated mainly to the Fresh Waste project. Thank you very much. Be back at 12. Thank you. So maybe we should start with our next session dedicated to the Fresh Waste project. Thank you all of you for being here today, of course, and joining us in this session as well. that we are going to be mainly discussing the freshway activities and have some selected keynote speakers regarding the relative topics. So the first presentation, it's going to be an online one from the lead partner of the Freshways project, Aeroports of Apulia, and of course Mr. Mario Pertile, the project manager for the Freshways project. Let us check if he is available through the Zoom platform. A representative of the airports. Okay, we should wait a few minutes. Thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning. Can you hear us? We cannot see your screen yet.
Hello, good morning.
Yes, good morning. Can you hear us?
Hi, good morning, everyone. Thanks for the invitation. Especially thanks to the University
Recording in progress.
Patras.
Recording stopped.
And today we are really happy to participate and present Freshways project. I invite my colleagues, Maurizio Giglio and Elena Sciuppa, to start the presentation of the project. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We are waiting for your colleagues.
Good morning.
Recording in progress.
Can you all see the presentation?
We should wait a few seconds. We are not seeing it yet. We are having trouble hearing you. Can you check again?
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, perfect. Can you see the presentation?
Not yet.
Okay.
Now we can see the presentation.
Perfect.
Okay, perfect.
Good morning, everyone, from the airports of Puglia. And thank you very much for inviting us to participate in this event. Unfortunately, we couldn't be there in presence, but we will make it up next time. Today, we will present shortly the objectives and the results of the Freshways project, as well as the entity Airports of Puglia. So the Airports of Puglia was originally established in 1984, and it was called Società Esercizi Aeroporti Puglia. And it was established to manage Puglia's airports, which are four, located in Bari, Brindisi, Grottaglie, and Foggia. In 2006, the company changed its name to Aeroporti di Puglia, or in English, Airports of Puglia, and its main purpose is the license management of the four airports located in the Puglia region. The airports carry its activity by planning, developing, and managing the infrastructure for all the airport and all of the other activities. In particular, the aviation activities managed by the airports of Puglia include the management of central infrastructure passengers, as well as ramp and cargo handling services, and ground handling assistance services. The non-aviation activities include the sub-concessions, which mainly refer to the car rentals, the restaurants, the aircraft fueling services, and advertising space management, which Airports of Puglia is the advertising concessionaire and grants sub-concessions to third parties for advertising space management for all of the advertising activities. And of course, it's the management of the paid car park for the passengers. The Apulia network, as we said, manages 4 airports, which are located in Bari, Brindisi, Grottaglie, which is close to Taranto, and Foggia. The 2 largest airports, which are dedicated to the traffic of passengers, are Bari and Brindisi. Foggia mainly is dedicated to the activities of the Civil Protection Department, and it also has some national flights for the moment. And Grottaglie is dedicated for the airspace services. As we can see in this slide, the growth of the passenger traffic throughout the years has been substantial, and we have almost had 9 million of passengers combined the airports of Bari and Brindisi this year, which means that the overall traffic has increased significantly in the last years, which is also relevant for the project activities, because as we will see shortly, the main objective of the Freshways project is to combine the transport of passengers with fresh goods in between Italy, mainly the Puglia region, and Greece, in order to increase also the economic activities between the 2 countries. In order to present the Freshways project, it was a project approved under the first call of the Interreg Greece-Italy program for the year 2014-2020, and it was approved under the Axis 3, which is the multimodal sustainable transport system. The project is co-funded by the European Union, the European Regional Development Fund, and by national funds of Greece and Italy, for a total budget of almost 2,700,000 euros. As we said, the main objective is to develop a strategy to optimize the transport system by reducing the dependency on road and maritime solutions, and increase the range of available connection between Greece and Italy, especially in that way we can limit the connections between both countries, not only on seasonal tourism, but also increasing flights between the 2 countries, which will increase also non-seasonal tourism and contribute to the economic development of both countries. So the project started on the 31st of July 2019, and it will end on 30th of June 2023. As you can see, the project partners of the Freshways project are the Airports of Puglia as the lead partner, the Chamber of Commerce, Industry, Crafts and Agriculture of Bari, the University of Salento, the Department of Innovation Engineering, the Chamber of Commerce of Preveza, the University of Patras, the Department of Civil Engineering, and as the associated partner, we have the Puglia region, the local transport and major projects. As we said before, the main objective of the Freshways project is to increase the economic and commercial ties between the 2 countries by increasing the transportation of fresh goods from one country to another using the airport transport, which will reduce also the dependency on the transport by trucks and ships, which are the main problems of the emissions of the CO2 in the atmosphere. As you can see, the interventions that are carried out under the Freshways project can be described as cross-border, integrated, environmentally friendly, and intermodal. First of all, we can define them being cross-border because the products which are typical for both Italy and Greece can be sold on the other side of the Adriatic and vice versa, which will contribute to the economic growth of the countries. It is also integrated because the supply chain can assure that all of the logistics aspects are met in order to guarantee the flow of the products and of the shipment from the Italy to the Greece part and vice versa. It is environmentally friendly because by using flights that are already programmed for the transportation of passengers, we reduce the dependency on the transport by trucks and ships, and we can define it intermodal because the supply chain integrates the road and airlines mode both in Greece and Italy. The main benefits of the fresh waste projects are the reduction of the annual road freight transport, which is located in the eligible area, by 333 tons, avoiding intensive maritime and road transport solution, and also reducing the emissions of the CO2 in the atmosphere. The next benefit is to increase the number of travelers between both countries throughout the year, which will achieve also the non-seasonal tourism and will deepen the connections in the south part of the Mediterranean area of Europe by also trying to establish new flights that can also be used for the transportation of goods. It is also to develop an integrated system to optimize freight management logistics from and to the airport and reduce the environmental impact that transport by truck and by ships can have in this area. And also the last benefit is to transfer the main outputs of our projects and the best practices that we have established in other regions with similar needs, and our colleagues will speak later on about all the possible ways in which we can capitalize the outputs that we have reached in the project. So the main results of the project from the airports of Puglia is the building of a hangar in the premises of the airports of Bari, which allow the storage of goods and fresh products in order to be shipped with flights that are already dedicated to the transport of passengers. The works that have been carried out mainly include the improvement and the upgrading of the electrical system of the hangar and the creation of a security system, the external lighting, and even the fiber optic connection to the telephone lines. We have also managed to buy some specific machinery and equipment, which will allow to store and preserve the fresh products. For example, also a forklift and a cargo loader and other technical equipment, which will all contribute to the functionality of the hangar. In this way, we created a specific area in the airports that allow to store, check, and preserve the fresh products that can be transported by flights. This is the first photo of the hangar that was built in the premises of the airports of Bari. As we can see, we managed to create a great storage place for the fresh products from small and local producers, both from Puglia and for Greece. And we hope that in this way we can make them increase and develop the economic growth of the countries. These are also some photos of the hangar from the external sides. And from the inside, you can see that the space that has been dedicated to the storage of the fresh goods is really elevated, and we really hope that we can transport these good practices across the Adriatic and find a way to managed to organize more of these spaces also in other airports. In this way, in this photo now you can see the building from the inside, which will allow to store more goods as possible. Regarding the future possibilities of the air transport of fresh products, unfortunately, after the COVID-19, the pandemic, some of the ways in which we transport goods have changed, but luckily the air transport sector managed to reduce and increase actually the way that in which we transport fresh goods from one country to another, and reduce the timing of that transport, which can allow the goods to be better preserved. The main problem with the transport of, with the air transport of fresh products is that we have to be able to organize the logistics of the moving the fresh products really well. And in order to guarantee that all the parts of the supply chain can manage to do their part in order to preserve the product and bring it into the destination in the perfect conditions. So all of the stakeholders need to coordinate amongst themselves in order to transport and handle and store the goods and bring it in perfect condition to the destinations. And this is largely made possible because the air transport facilitates the movement of fresh products across the world, reducing the timing of the transport, and it can guarantee better storage for a shorter period of time. Furthermore, the deterioration of the product that has to be avoided and can be prevented with the efficient planning of the product journey, ensuring that any and all of the facilities in the airport are equipped with proper storage, that notably processing and work areas have a controlled environment for special loads, cold rooms and freezers, treatment rooms, even the equipment for cooling the products and possibly for their segregation. Ensuring the integrity of the whole logistic value, we can guarantee as an ultimate goal to transport fresh products by air and bring it in perfect conditions to the other part. As we said, the pandemic of the COVID-19 has reminded us that we need to organize with agility and responsiveness to all the market needs, and that we have to be resilient and innovative in beating the capacity and food shortages that such a pandemic can guarantee with air transport of products, of fresh products, and organize such activities also in other countries in order to guarantee the functionality of the whole supply chain. The success of managing to organize this kind of transports in this critical situation drew the attentions of the importance of transport of fresh products by air. And this is why we suggest, as in order to guarantee future development of this kind of transport, especially between Puglia and Greece, to organize some further actions even after the closure of the fresh waste products, such as the training of the operators about freight transport or about the use of specific machinery and equipment, both in Italy and in Greece, to strengthen the commercial cooperation between the countries in order to make this transport available, to increase more flights between Puglia and Greece, and to combine the transport of passengers and goods, and also to share our experience with other territories that have similar needs in order to share our best practices and make them aware of this possibility. And thank you very much for having us today. I hope that you managed to see which are the main objective of the project, and I hope that we can continue our collaboration even in the future.
Thank you very much for your presentation. And of course, we thank the representatives of the airport of Apulia for joining us today, even online, to showcase the work that has been done in the fresh waste project and the results that have been accomplished, the works, the infrastructure work that has been developed in the airport of Apulia, and of course, showcasing us the future possibilities for air transport of these fresh goods that we are talking about in our project. So we are moving on with the next presentation that is also online, that is quite connected to the previous one. We are now going to talk about capitalization prospects of the fresh waste project results, as we have been showcased some of the project results. The presentation is going to be from Ms. Irini Silelim, that is an expert of the Professor Chamber, that is the project partner of the fresh waste project. Irini, can you hear us?
I can hear you.
Okay.
Hear well? Do you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. We can see you. We cannot see your screen yet.
Yes, I will put my presentation.
Okay, perfect.
I would like to hello to everyone. Thank you very much for these events, synergic events. It's a pleasure for us to present the fresh waste project. Do you see now my presentation? Not yet, I think.
Not yet.
Okay.
And I'm sorry for interrupting, Irini. I'm just, because we are a little bit behind schedule, I kindly ask you to be as brief as you can, of course, showcasing us your presentation, but given the time limitations, I kindly ask you to be as brief as possible. Thank you. We can now see you're sharing the screen. It's not in full mode, though.
Okay. Okay, now it's okay, I think. I would like to mention that Preveza Chamber has a strong interest to capitalize fresh waste project results, because that's why we will strengthen the collaboration in the cross-border area in Greece, Italy. Here I will present you the capitalization prospects of fresh waste project results. First of all, I will start with the innovative approach of our project. So it aims, as Elena has presented earlier, to reduce the use of road transport combined with transport by sea, using the passenger flights on existing Poulia Greece routes in the eligible area for parallel transport of fresh goods with using an ICT platform. Also promotes networking between public administration, research centers, and business sector in order to identify potential and pave the way for future eco-sustainable transport investment in line with the triple helix approach.
Excuse me, I'm sorry for interrupting you. If you are changing slides, we cannot see it. We can see still the first slide.
Okay.
So maybe
I have changed it, but
yeah, we are still seeing the first slide. No.
No. Okay. So
it is not in full mode yet.
Okay. Now, do you see?
Yes. Now we see the slide main capitalizable project results. Yes. Thank you.
Okay. Here are the capitalized project results. These four: the cross-border network of cooperated structure, the integrated ICT platform, the air cargo infrastructure in Poulia, and the business plan for the creation of an agro-logistics center in Preveza. So, what are the capitalization prospects? To design and create a complementary to the airport of Poulia an agro-logistic infrastructure in Preveza, near to Action Airport, integrating the developed ICT platform aiming to enable fresh food shipping services, transferring the established network and the developed ICT platform as best practices and tools, to other joint cross-border regions with similar characteristics, and finally, development of the cross-border economy by increasing the supply and demand of fresh agri-food products and creating new jobs at cross-border level. Here are the potential users and stakeholders involved in the capitalization process. These users has many needs that the capitalization of our projects will help them. So the agricultural cooperative.
Really, we can still see the results. We don't see the users.
Okay, so maybe I don't have full screen. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, now it's better, I think.
Yeah, now it's changing.
Okay.
Yeah, perfect.
So here are the needs of the users. The agricultural cooperative and agri-food companies and wholesaler will increase the low internationalization level. The local regional authorities and chamber will upgrade the capacity on policy making in the field of transport. The responsible civil aviation authorities and airport management bodies strengthen for further cooperation and exchange of know-how to co-design and co-implement green intermodal and multimodal transport models. And generally, the stakeholders and target groups will upgrade the cooperation and networking capacity across border level. These fresh waste results must be sustainable and transferable. So they must have a specific design and operational characteristics. Fresh food shipping services and transport must be co-effective and eco-friendly. The fresh waste ITP platform must have friendly use and easily access to new multimodal and integrated transport infrastructure by SMEs. Also, ICT platform must have a flexible structure to be transferred, adopted, and adapted easily in other geographical and operational contexts. Network should have open framework, and the business plan for the creation of the agro-logistics center in Preveza must take under consideration the current and future freight needs of the border, cross-border area Greece-Italy in the framework of 21-25 period with 7 million potential consumers. So here are the necessary arrangements for the further utilization of projects outcomes. First one, we must set up the cross-border network. Second, engage of new stakeholders and policy-making institutes in the cross-border area. Finalize the arrangement of GDPR requirement concerning the use of our ICT platform. Finalize the ICT platform to be ready for commercial use. Prepare the detailed design of the agro-logistics center in Preveza and search for the necessary sources of financing. Here are the funding mechanisms that we could use: Recovery and Resilience Facility Funds, National Operation Program 21-25, private funds. Here now we present you some slides about the business plan for the creation of the agro-logistics center in Preveza industrial area. So the aim of the business plan is to investigate the feasibility and document the viability of creating new and expanding existing agri-food logistic infrastructure within the industrial area of Preveza in order to provide a new competitive and environmentally friendly combined transport, optimizing the inter-regional freight transport strategy and promoting cross-border cooperation and sustainable economic development of the region. Here is the rationality of the business idea that came from the findings of Freshway project. So we have a conclusion that there is a strong need for the creation of the agri-logistic infrastructure near the Acton airport in order to develop combined freight transport with the use of airplanes. Also, the proposed center could work complementary to the related infrastructure created in the framework of Freshways project by airports of Puglia. In this logistics center, there is small, mid-sized, and large enterprises that will participate in the supply chain: producer and harvester, sellers, resellers, carriers, processors, packagers, distribution centers, restaurant and consumers, and regulators. The potential services of the Agro-Logistics Center will be consolidation, deconsolidation, and cross-docking, value-added services, manufacturing, pre-storage, customs storage, transport, technology, promotion, and quality control services, commercial exhibition, management, coordination, and organization of coherent interaction between these activities, supporting services. The location of the Agri-Logistics Center is proposed to be in the industrial area of Preveza for these three reasons: because there is a supporting regulatory framework, there is available space for initial and future investments, and there are excellent connections with all transportation modes. The Agri-Logistics Center should use the existing and under construction roads, Ionia and Egnatia roads, Preveza Igoumenitsa coastal road, air connection with Italy and coastal ferry connection, and of course, connections with Western Europe and Balkans. This is a typical layout of the proposed Agro-Logistics Center. There is a design of it. And finally, here are the conclusion of the business plan of the Agro-Logistics Center, that the establishment and the operation of it inside the industrial area of Preveza is realistic in terms of possibilities, is compatible in terms of international practices, and financially feasible. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ms. Ileli, for showcasing us what could be done in the next step for our project regarding the capitalization and what the Preveza Chamber has in mind and how this could be accomplished, especially regarding the further creation of a business plan and a business center in the Preveza area. So we move forward with our next presentation. That is a keynote speech from Professor John Sakellariou from the Stochastic Mechanical System and Automation Laboratory in the Department of Mechanical Engineering and Aeronautics here in the University of Patras. So thank you very much, Professor Sakellariou. Yes.
Good afternoon to all. Until we can see the first slide, I would like to thank Professor Stefanidis for the invitation to this very interesting event, behind of which there is a very clever idea of a service that may be used in various applications. So the aim of this presentation is mainly just an introduction to the monitoring of surveillance UAVs under varying payloads and operating conditions and potential faults. This monitoring is useful as we need to have multi-purpose UAVs, always healthy under their operating conditions. And so we have to be ready to understand what is going on when there is a problem at a very early stage. I will not go into the details, the technical details, but I will try to give you some basic information about what can be done, the capabilities of the monitoring currently. Okay, let's save some time and go to the first slide. Okay, some introductory material here about the monitoring tasks of an automated mechatronic system that may realize such a monitoring. What we need from such a mechatronic system? We need to monitor the proper operation of the UAV. We need to assess the condition, the health condition of the UAV, and decide on the management of its health. What to do in order to avoid the crash, for instance. Okay? So, the main ingredients of such a mechatronic system, what are these? Of course, some sensors. Let's say that the yellow points are a network of sensors on the UAV. in order to have measurements, mainly vibration signals, vibration measurements. The next part is an operational unit which gathers the measurements. And then we have the CPU, the main processor, like the one there is in a computer, to process the signals, the measurements which are gathered here, and take decisions about the next steps, about the health management of the UAV. The vision is to have an automated mechatronic system that may cover all health monitoring levels. What I mean, there are mechatronic systems for monitoring that may cover only the first, the easier level of fault detection, the first level. However, there are extensions for the second level to find the exact location of the fault. The third level, even more difficult, to characterize the severity of the fault, or else to estimate the size of a potential crack, let's say. And the last level, which is somewhat different from the previous levels, however, this is based on the previous three levels, is to estimate the remaining useful life of the UAV. Okay, this is very important, but as I said, when we go to a higher level, the difficulty is also higher. Oops, sorry. Okay. I talked previously about vibration signals. Actually, it is the most common, I can say, type of measurements that one may use for the monitoring, not only for UAVs, but any kind of aircraft, because vibration signals may be found during the normal operation of the UAV. The vibrations are there, always. So what we have to do is to exploit the information that we can take from the vibrations. So, the concept, it is, sorry, excuse me for this. The concept is, when we have a fault, we can observe through the vibration signals changes in the dynamic behavior. Let's say the motion in very basic terminology, the dynamics of the UAV. And these changes may be found by monitoring the characteristics of the vibration signals obtained from the sensors, as I said. So the main idea is to do the opposite. What I mean, to acquire the vibration signals and go to understand what's going on now with the dynamics of the aircraft, of the UAV. It's the same. And decide about the level of the health we want to focus. Is this the first level, the second level, and so on. And here you can see the schematic representation of the idea. What I mean is that the blue line is vibration signal from the healthy, let's say, UAV, while the red signal are vibration, the red line, sorry, is the vibration from a faulty UAV. So what we are trying to do using these signals to understand, using this very, very simple schematic, to understand which is the faulty and which is the healthy. This is the idea. However, the problem when we have an aircraft or a UAV with so many varying operating conditions, as for instance is the environmental conditions, temperature, humidity, according to the height, operating conditions, payload, if it transfers something, if the weight changes, turbulence, which excite differently the UAV, and so on. Also, if we have a fleet of UAVs, of nominally identical UAVs, which in most cases have nominally identical composite parts. However, composite parts, when we construct the composite part, there are differences in the dynamics from the one to the other due to material and manufacturing uncertainty. It is a complicated manufacturing, this of a composite part. So what we need? For real-time use, we need robust methods, which means that we need methods to understand and separate the effects on the dynamics of the varying conditions from the effects of faults. Otherwise, there is the risk to confuse a varying operating condition with a fault. And this is a false alarm, which means that it does not deserve to have a high rate of false alarms. So we need even 0 false alarms if it is possible. However, the problem in real time, I always mean for real-time use, the problem is highly challenging because the operating conditions change continuously. Okay. Here you can see some indicative faults and damages. I have 2 different terms here because okay, thank you very much. Because faults are usually used for subsystems like motors or navigation systems of the UAVs. However, when we say damage, we refer to structural components, which means cracks, for instance, to the propeller, or cracks to the main beam. Actually, this is called boom, the main boom from impacts from a bird, as for instance. This is a very usual case. Or with hits with other foreign objects. So, you can see here some other types of damages like delamination for composite structures. I will not go into details about this, or debonding, and you can see several types of faults and damages here, which we need to understand at a very early stage in order to avoid such a situation. At a very, very early stage. This is the goal. Okay. Few words, just only few words about machine learning-based methods. We are developing such methods many years now, and I will try to focus only on the basic principles in order to avoid to be very complicated. So, in these methods we have 2 main phases. The baseline phase, or else the phase where we train the method, very easy, and the inspection phase where the trained method operates in real time. Okay, so what we are trying here in the baseline, the training phase, to have, let's say, this is the schematic explanation, to have a healthy subspace, as we called it, including the healthy dynamics of the UAV under the varying payload operating conditions and other uncertainty sources that may be found in real-time applications. And in the inspection phase, what we need to do is, if we have an unknown state of the UAV, we don't know if it is healthy or faulty, etc., or under which operating condition is nothing. We have to decide, using a proper decision-making system, if this unknown state is within this circle or outside. Based on this, we have the decision if the UAV is damaged or not, or healthy. Very simple. The concept is so simple, as it is shown. Okay, again, indicative details on some methods we developed the last several years. What we are trying here, we are trying to construct the healthy subspace using some spheres of adaptable diameters in general. So when we construct this subspace, we do what I said previously, to check if the current point, current unknown state of the UAV, is within this subspace or outside. Then we know if it is, please.
Can we share the screen once again?
Okay.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Just a few seconds to have the presentation. We cannot see the presentation.
The buttons are small.
Yeah, here, can you point the slide here?
Okay. Okay. So if we decide if this point is within or outside of this area, we have the decision if it is the UAV is healthy or damaged. Another methodology, a machine learning methodology, do the same. What we need, this is the healthy subspace. In other words, the dynamics of the UAV under the varying operating conditions, payload, etc. And we need to know if the unknown state is within healthy subspace. It is the same. This is from an actual case. This is just a schematic. If it is within the healthy subspace or not. And again, we have healthy or damaged detection. Okay, let's see some applications from recent projects we have worked for these. This was for a fleet of small UAVs for which we worked for these two parts of the UAV constructed from composite material. So we have 31 UAVs, and so we have 62 such composite beams. All these beams are manufactured through typical procedures. However, the dynamics of a composite, as I said previously, is different. It's not exactly the same. So you can see this that I'm saying through this figure. The green zone represents the healthy dynamics under the various uncertainties I mentioned previously. However, the red zone indicates the UAV dynamics under a small impact from a small bird, let's say. And what you can see, that the dynamics are overlapped. So the damage detection problem is really difficult here. However, using the previous method based on the density base, etc., we may construct here the healthy subspace. And you can see, using receiver operating characteristic curves, actually you can see here the correct detection of the methods and the false alarm, let's say, here. If we are close to 1, it means that the performance of the method is excellent. So you can see that the compared methods are very close to unity. And if we see the zoom here, you can see that here we have 1% false alarm, 1.5 false alarm, and so on. You can see that if we need to have 100% of correct detection, we may achieve this having just 1.5 false alarm, which is acceptable even from the aircraft industry. However, if one wants to have 0 false alarm and be 100% sure that there's no false alarm, okay, in such a case, we have a little bit lower percent of correct detection. It is up to the user and the application. Here you can see a different test case, completely different. It is on the second level, which means that we try to precisely estimate the location of cracks over this aircraft stabilizer. This is on the tail of the UAV. This is a rather bigger UAV, as you can see here, the dimensions of the stabilizer. Actually, the machine learning method uses the black points for its training and tries to estimate the coordinates of the red points. A very difficult problem. What you can see here are some indicative results. Some faults, some damages here, type of crack, let's say. And you can see here the actual damage, X and Y axis, meaning X and Y axis here. You can see the actual damage, and here is the estimate. See how close is the estimate to the actual damage. And here is the confidence interval, which is very narrow, indicating the accuracy of the machine learning method to find the exact point on the UAV. There are more cases here with different sensors. Okay, we may go ahead. I think you have the idea. I forgot to mention that the mean localization error after, I don't remember, but hundreds of test cases is just 4 centimeter, which is very small if you see that, if you see the size of the stabilizer of the UAV. Here is a prototype that we have constructed, which is equipped with machine learning methods for real-time use and may be directly used in this big UAV. This was made for the Israel aeronautics industries, and this period we are in the upgrade of this for more robust machine learning methods for real-time use. And this is the graphical user interface of the prototype, how the pilot may see the various graphs and how the pilot will decide if this threshold is exceeded to push the button for a danger in order to inform the maintenance department that there is something to the UAV. We have to take it now to the ground in order to check the critical point to which we have, for which we have an alarm. Okay, here are the results from a very small impact, invisible. We called it invisible because we can't see this with bare eye. This is a barely visible damage, and this is a visible damage. Very small impacts that may have, under the composite material, cause serious damage to the UAV. And as you can see, even for this very small damage, the distinction between the healthy and the damaged case is clear. So the detection of this damage may be done. So the general, one concluding remark is the one which is in the red box. Machine learning-based monitoring of UAVs has really come of maturity, as we can have high diagnostic performance. The cost of vibration measurements, sensors, data acquisition, and so on, of vibration technology in general, is not high. We may use vibration sensors of even $5. We may use it for operation under natural excitation, real-time use I mean, robustness to varying operating conditions and uncertainty, as those mentioned previously, and of course, based on a proper graphical user interface, to have automation and in-flight operation from the pilot, directly from the pilot. This is it. I hope that it was informative for most of you. Thank you very much, and for any questions.
Thank you very much, Professor Sakellariou. Thank you very much, Professor Sakellariou, for showcasing us what can be done regarding UAVs and monitoring. And of course, UAVs were a big part of the first session of our presentation. And when we are talking monitoring, we have to take note how the UAVs can use the monitoring process and what has already been done in that session, but also taking advantage of the Fresh Waste project, what can be done regarding monitoring in our session, in our project, and what has been done within the Fresh Waste project regarding the monitoring and the transportation of goods. So we move forward with a presentation for the Fresh Waste ICT platform. It's going to be a two-part presentation. The first part is going to be from the University of Patras, and then the next part is going to be from the University of Salento. So I will continue with the presentation of the Fresh Waste platform regarding the University of Patras. Apologize for not standing on the podium, but due to a personal injury, I cannot really move right now. So if you could please share my presentation, thank you. So maybe I should start, and then we can see. So we are trying to showcase the platform, the ICT platform that was created in the Fresh Waste project. Fresh Waste. Fresh Waste ICT platform was designed to strengthen the supply chain, but also to facilitate the creation of a new market opportunities between the two countries, Greece and Italy. And this was accomplished, as we mentioned earlier, through development of a digital platform that enabled user access to the service, the Fresh Waste service, that is a transportation of fresh value goods. So the platform services, we have to note that this platform was created with the collaboration with the University of Salento, so it has two parts. The first part of the platform is dedicated to the demand supply, so the platform services will support the identification of the demand supply and the booking of transport. So this will accomplish in 4 steps. The first one is create a counter package, match and hold space, book and transfer, and then book to final. So moving forward, we have the create an account package. When the user has the ability, either as a consumer or producer, to create an account, define the package that he wants to either acquire or sell, and then declare the demand supply, and then make the optimal choice for the matching. Later on, we have the match and hold space. So we have the opportunity to book the time window, match the needs with a specific flight that may be available, and book a hold space through the aircraft to be transported. Later on, we have the book and transfer option that the producer decides to transfer to airport origin, and the transporter interested in the transport shows their capabilities if we have to acquire a transporter for the last mile distribution of products to the airport or not. So the producer books the shipment, and later on, the same producer can be made so that the producer can book the shipment of his flight from airport to destination. So we have origin to airport origin, and then airport destination to final destination. So of course, in these steps, the user will be advised by the platform on available choices through an evaluation system based on the user's past comments. So I'm trying to be brief. Here is how you can enter the platform. It is available in our project's website. There's a specific section for the Fresh Waste platform, and you can join by either 2 methods, the logistic method that is going to be showcased later on by the University of Salento, and the demand supply method that was created by the University of Patras. So, moving forward, we have to note that anyone can register as a producer, a consumer, or even a carrier, a transporter. They need to be having an email verification for checking their information. There is going to be either acceptance or rejection by the airport, and of course, it's going to be a process where a unique code will be created, and their code will be generated and sent to the airline in order to match the available flights. So later on here, I have a brief video on how the platform can be accessed. So if you want to join, you have to state specific information, your role in the process, the country of origin and destination, the personal information, etc. This is how the platform can be used and how you can create an account. And if you have already an account, you can register. So I think we move forward to log in. As a producer, we mentioned 3 different roles. Here is the profile of a producer, what can be done, the needs, the transportation, the experts. We can see the front page, the experts, we can declare either interest of the particular project, or if we have an available project, how this can be sent, and give specific description and the specific time window. And of course, we have also the consumer profile. It is pretty much similar, but has great differences. So now we don't have needs, we have latest exports, what can be done to showcase the matching. We see the products that we want to buy, so we have the availability of the products, and then we can move forward with the matching. And of course, we have also the option of the carrier, the transporter. As we mentioned earlier, some of the producers may not have available means to carry their produce, the products, to the airport of origin, and of course from the airport destination to the final destination. So there is a profile possibility for the carrier, the transporter, that can be available and can view all available requests for transportation, filter those requests based on basic filters that were created, and also view all available information about a transportation request. Moving forward, we can see when signing in as a carrier, as I mentioned earlier, all the information, but also information about the airport, the specific flights. We can filter those destinations and time windows and see what is available and what can be transported and when. So, of course, we have to take note that evaluation is a big part of the process of the platform. So there is evaluation of each step. A producer can evaluate a consumer and vice versa. A producer can evaluate a carrier and vice versa. And of course, a consumer can evaluate a carrier as well. This is really important in order to showcase, as we mentioned earlier, the categorizing of whether an experience has been good or not for the user, and of course, avoid particular differences and problems in the future for transportation of products. So, of course, there's a role of an administrator. At our time, we have, since we created the platform, we are able to add, edit, and delete information based on the feedback we receive. So if the platform at this time needs some corrections, we have feedback for users that need to add additional categories for products, need to add different destination purposes from the filters that were created. We have to contact the administrator, us, and we will be able to provide based on the architecture of the platform that we have developed. So we have to note that the objective was to track deliveries in real time, so we have tried to also use specific equipment with our platform as well, in order to don't lose the items and track them, help with the storage, but also know where everything is on the cloud info, and have fast communication and interactions with sellers, buyers, and communication points. So we have been using, as I mentioned, some IoT gateway and other app example. We have been using RFID. These have been connected to the platform on our side in order to have and track and monitor where the products can be at any given time for our transportation of the products. And then we can see here how the intermodal hub departure, the truck recognized near the intermodal hub, that can be, for example, near the airport of origin, and then auto-checked if there is a problem with the product transportation or the product itself. And later on, in the intermodal hub, the arrival, the truck waiting can be sent a notification, and the clients can be notified when the delivery leaves the hub, and how they could be later on connected with their order and their products that have been matched to them. So we, as you mentioned earlier, we have the last mile distribution in order to take into account. So the boxes are tracked, the client is informed on the delivery, and all the information is updated in the platform created. Some benefits from the platform for our side, and of course, this can be also named for the whole platform that was created, the two options. There are competitive advantages, that is the consistency of delivery time and safety of low freight costs. We have low reliance on human intervention, so there are still reduced costs. We have a reduced chance of cargo loss, since we are taking part of monitoring, and we are trying to track when our products are and where, and higher level of service and scale of service. And of course, there are benefits to local society, such as entrepreneurship, civil society, and quality of life. So I try to be as brief as possible regarding the Fresh Waste ICT platform that was created from the University of Patras. Thank you very much. So in order to showcase the whole experience of the platform, we have also online with us Mr. Gianvito Mitrano from the University of Salento, the Research Fellow and the computer engineer, to showcase us what was done from the Italian side and how the platform was created there and what has been done. Thank you very much. The floor is yours, Gianvito. Thank you.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Sharing the presentation?
Yes, we can hear you. Just a little. Can you speak a little bit louder because we are having connection issues?
Okay. Okay. Good morning. I'm Gianvito Mitrano, and I'm a research fellow at the University of Salento. First of all, thank you for the invitation for this interesting event. University of Salento is a partner in the Freshway platform. I make a brief introduction about the university and our research laboratory. The University of Salento is a research university aimed at the development of basic and applied research, both in science and humanities, with 8 different departments. Specifically, I work at the development of innovation engineering, which is involved in several research projects at national and international level, in collaboration with other university organizations and research centers. An area of interest regards precisely the application of ICT in smart transportation and mobility. In the Department of Innovation Engineering, there is our research laboratory named Core Lab with 3 different research areas. We are involved on different research projects and teams as a smart transportation. First of all, the basic objectives of the Freshways research project have been identified in the previous presentation. Basically, the project promotes sustainability, transport, and cost-effective solutions, improve commercial exchange between Puglia and Greece, identify the most innovative solution for transportation. I would like to focus now on 2 specific issues related to our research activities. The first regards specifically the optimization of transport resources and the available space in the aircraft hold of passenger airlines. So how to take advantage of this opportunity. The other is optimize regards the special characteristics of the products with the optimization of the space and time resources in the transport organization of fresh food products. In the context of our work, 3 essential aspects were considered and analyzed. The first is the technological aspect, the multimodal, intermodal transport need of efficient information flow to the involved actors. The regulations, in fact, the transport of perishables is strictly regulated to preserve the value and safety of products, and then the transport sustainability. About the university contribution, the methodological aspects have been focused on the comparison between the different transport methods. From an operational point of view, we have defined the Freshway method for a logistic match of demand and supply of fresh products in order to connect the different actors involved, buyer, producer, freight forwarder, in an efficient way. Also, the implementation of Freshway method is based is carried out with the design, the development of dedicated tools and softwares. First of all, we have analyzed, defined, and modeled the process of demand supply shipping. We have identified the actors and their role, the entities, the activities, the constraints, the conditions for feasibility of shipping. The platform side of University of Salento, we have designed, developed 3 different models. One for buyers to search products inserted by producer to support in the choice of transport mode. For producers to promote and sell their specific products, and at the end for the product traceability through a mobile app. So in this slide are identified the different actors involved in the platform: buyer, producer, air carrier, and the different freight forwarders. This slide represents the complete supply chain from producer to buyer with all intermediate steps. So now we briefly can view the different Universal Salento platform functionalities. So the producer can register on the platform by accessing to the specific section. The producer will be redirected to a specific page to register with the company details. And the producer can enter, obviously, his fresh agri-food products in the platform, clicking on catalog. The resulting page will show a complete list of his entire products with their detailed data, with the name, description, and so on. So this actor, the producer, can manage the different, can view and manage the different requests regarding the different, obviously, transactions, and will be able to sort them by adding parameters. The other actors, as a freight forwarder, can view and manage the different requests and can create the specific Freshways transport mode. The specific Freshways transport is a tuple containing the link between 3 kinds of shipment. The first shipment, land transport between the producer and the departure airport. The second shipment, air route between the departure and arrival airports. The third shipment, land transport between the arrival airport and the buyer. The freight forwarder can add new Freshways transport mode by clicking on a specific menu. And so on, it can create the Freshways.
Mr. Mitrano, can you hear us? It seems we have lost the connection.
Here, a company can register on the platform its information by accessing the specific section. The buyer can search the specific product in the platform, can see more detailed information about each product on the list. And when a product has been selected, the buyer will be able to see all detailed information. on that product. And he will be able to enter the required quantity so that the platform can calculate the price of the product. Once the buyer has selected the quantity of the product he wants to be shipped, he will be displayed the time price estimate comparison table between the different shipping methods. By choosing and confirming the traditional transport alternative, the buyer will only receive the email with the producer's contacts. By choosing and confirming one transport solution using the Freshways modality, the producer and the freight forwarder will receive a notification of these requests, while the buyer will be notified by the email informing that the requests have been taken in charge. The producer will, in case both the response are positive, double positive check on the platform by the two actors, the buyer will receive an email with all the information to complete the transaction and the payment. At the end, we have developed a specific tracking traceability app, allows to manage and control the shipment via QR code located on the different on the package. This is the app for traceability. Thank you for your attention.
Mr. Gianvinto, it seems that we have finalized with the presentation. So if we don't have any more questions regarding what has been showcased, we now show what the Freshways ICT platform has accomplished and how the transportation of goods can be accomplished through our platform, and of course the monitoring regarding the phases of each section. So moving forward, since we are talking about logistics and smart logistics, we are calling our last speaker today, Mr. George Gironis from iLink New Technologies. He's an EU project coordinator, and he is going to showcase us his presentation regarding smart logistics for the Industry 4.0. So I give the floor to you. Thank you.
Okay, good morning, everyone. I'll try to be as fast as possible. My name is Giorgos Tsironis. I'm a new member of the iLink New Technologies company, specializing on telematics, indoor-outdoor location and positioning. I'm also a PhD candidate in environmental engineering, and I will start with the presentation. So the presentation consists of two main pillars, the product and project development, with much more weight on project development in the context of logistics, smart logistics, and smart safety. So iLink is a software development company, indoor and outdoor positioning, utilizing different technologies and hardware and software systems and different software architectures. So also vehicle data multi-sensing. Of course, the 5G technology exploitation is a great asset of the technology development. Also, the 6G technology starts to be a point of interest in the upcoming European projects. Of course, there are some blockchain initiatives in the company, in some projects that are being developed right now, and the two main projects, European Union projects, Innovation Actions and Research Innovation Actions, is the 5G in use and in code, which I'm going to demonstrate in more detail later. Now, a brief introduction to the software project. So we're talking about two main projects, the PowerFleet, which is a positioning system, a real-time positioning system for vehicles, for fleet of vehicles. So we have a fully featured GPS-based fleet management system, route optimization, asset maintenance management. So we can track down each vehicle, the maintenance schedule, when it needs to change tires or have a service. There is an embedded ERP system, so the end user, the the driver can pass right to the ERP system the invoices, e-signatures, etc. Proof of delivery and internet sensor data monitoring. Also pre-installed sensoring systems in the vehicles measuring different aspects of temperature, vibrations, etc. can provide useful insights regarding further BI analysis. The second main product is the PowerTech. It's a very similar logic. The main difference is that instead of the vehicle, the center of the app is the workforce, the worker. So we have a real-time location-based work order dispatching and monitoring, data collection via the application for both Android and iOS, custom e-signature and receipt generation via Bluetooth printer on the field, extensive back-office reports, statistical data analysis, integration with ERP and CRM systems. All the last three are in the context of BI analysis and business analysis. Here there are some side projects. I won't stay much here because we don't have much time. So the main side projects are the Powerfleet Government Edition, referring to smart cities application for the garbage trucks and bins. Now the contract has been expanded in a national level, so every garbage truck and bin will be equipped with a location system, providing also an optimization routing system to the drivers. OT Zone is a custom-made version of the PowerTech for the Otis company. The Eudoxus, it's the well-known management, the textbook home delivery management website. SOS Doctor, this is a very interesting application providing patient records, medical history, real-time doctor dispatch and geolocation, etc. As you can see, this has been donated as an app to the SOS Doctors. It's still running today. And last but not least, the Powerfleet Environment Edition. It has been developed this year due to the severe problems and severe weather conditions last year. So the snowplow vehicles, the snowplow trucks are coordinated and orchestrated by this application. And here are the research projects. There is a significant shift towards research and development in the company. So the main research projects are the Induce, the 5G Induce, which actually is an indoor location system utilizing ultra-wideband beacons cooperating with anchors that communicate with each other, giving Cartesian coordinates for indoor assets in the facilities. The significant project, the specific project has been in a late stage now, so there has been also lab testing, EXFA experimental facilities in the Whirlpool facilities in Italy. So there's a cooperation with the Whirlpool factory in Italy. The whole location algorithm, the collision algorithm has been deployed there with great results. And the 5 main components of the network application is the location server, the collision detection algorithm, which is an algorithm custom made by the software developers of the company, the database container, the message bus server, which is actually this component that sends the message to provide the alerting in the end-up user. And the web map container. Of course, 5G networks, microservices, and Kubernetes have been used as software architecture, ultra-wideband technology in hardware-wise, and the collision algorithm. So the encode is in the early stage, just started this January. So we have the similar logic in the first part. We have, again, an indoor positioning system, a collision alerting system, but expands to the outdoor logistics. So the general overview is the transport quality of goods and products combined with safety standards optimization. The route optimization algorithm again, the safety proliferation is implemented through the deployment of the collision avoidance. And the capabilities of the edge computing architecture, that's the main component of this European project, to find a way to utilize and to exploit the edge capabilities of the network. So that means many processes can take place at the edge, at the 5G antennas, which have processing power. So that gives a great advantage in the whole process. So again, very briefly, we have the asset location. The assets, the packages, the cargo can be located indoor and outdoors in a different way regarding the ultra-wideband positioning indoor-wise and the GPS, GNSS location outdoors. So the package location, the assets and the workforce location in a correlation movement. And the scheduling and routing of the trucks is based on the transport requirements. So as we said, the rerouting can take place utilizing the 5G network capabilities. So in the next slide, we can see a graphical representation. The truck is mounted with many different sensors. The Optimo is actually the part of the algorithm, the part of the application that performs the routing calculation and the rerouting when needed. The edge is also an active part of the whole network, of the whole application network. So the edge is actually decision-making stage. And the expected outcomes are mostly aligned with the safety, the smart safety in the industrial facilities, the package tracking, the fuel consumption reduction. So all those sensors collect information even regarding the revs of the engine of the drivers, for example. So some eco-friendly suggestions can be made to the administrators. Unit cost reduction as an overall outcome, the rerouting I mentioned before at the edge based on telematics data that are collected while trucks approach the edge. So this way there is a product quality, transport quality maximization, provision of valuable BI functions, internal processes unconsidered as routing parameters. So for example, if there is a maintenance procedure within the facilities, or some docking stations are out of use, this can give information and feed the system with new information about where the coming trucks can dispatch. And of course, increased business operation efficiency, the general impact, as we said, smart safety, prevention of damage to perishables, increased profits of the logistic actors, development of trusted application frameworks. That's the main goal of the EU projects, one of the main goals of the EU project. So we have frameworks that can host many different app users that can share information and collaborate in a much efficient, safe way. And of course, there are some ESG initiatives regarding the green sustainable environment. And the last slide, I think I'm finished. The future perspectives are mostly towards the direction of more intense research and development. As we've seen so far, the European Union projects can offer great potentials in exploring new technologies, new systems. And more or less, that was my presentation. Thank you very much. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chironis, for presenting us the work that has been done regarding smart logistics and, of course, the projects that you have accomplished within the company that you are working on, and, of course, what can be done in this area. So, Moving on, unfortunately, we have a little bit of delay, so we won't be moving forward with the roundtable discussion as it is stated in the agenda. But since we want to showcase the project and hear from all the project partners that are here and are available, and we were supposed to have a full discussion between the project partners and, of course, the people here today, we call upon Mr. Argyris from the region of Epirus, that is a project partner in the AETHER project, and he is joining us today to say a few words regarding his experience and the regional experience in AETHER. Thank you very much.
Good morning. Thank you for the invitation and the hospitality from the region of Western Greece, and Professor Stefanidis for this, by my opinion, a brilliant idea of cooperation and inter-project cooperation. I'm going to speak about a short presentation regarding the eligible contribution of the region of Epirus as a partner on the AETHER project. Our pilot actions regard the construction of a hub focal point for marine and plastic littering in the Sayada coastline, in the regional unit of Thesprotia. That includes the installation of proper equipment for the collection of plastics from fish farming units and the transfer of the waste material to recycling facilities, along with the operation of an incinerator for the organic marine waste. Now, our perception of this request, the eligible collaboration, I think is based mainly on contributing to a broader informational framework consisting of collaborative data modules. The most related or qualified deliverables that we propose for this purpose are the D41 data collection and know-how transfer from the operators of line, the integration of a platform to the operational plans of region of Epirus, and the integration of APP utilities into the operational plans of region of Epirus. Moreover, the monitoring activities in the work package 3 for the elaboration of the studies or best practices and dissemination of these beyond the cross-border area between Greece and Italy. At the end, we point out that the eligible interoperability within the boundaries of the transnational integrated STEP and ARCA awareness raising change actions system. Of course, the upgrade of the quality and the sustainability, as our colleague Angela mentioned before, of fish products gives us another frame for cooperation and exploitation, common exploitation of the two projects' scopes. That was our presentation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Iannello, for your kind words, and of course showcasing us how the region of Epirus will be included in this project, in the AETHER project, and how its contribution regarding biodiversity and regarding ecosystems, that is, of course, a part of the AETHER project, is showcasing us with your actions in the region. So, since we don't really have much more time, I give the floor to Professor Stefanidis for a brief closing remarks in order to move forward with our next activities. I kindly remind you that in the afternoon we have the next AETHER activity and the next AETHER event. Thank you very much. Professor Stefanidis, the floor is yours.
Thank you all for being here and having taken the time to work with us. Mr. Zaimis could not be here, so he personally asked me to thank you all for your participation, the last speaker, of course, as well, but also specifically all the speakers, Mr. Gadaleta, Dr. Aguridas, Mrs. Abresha, Mr. Spilotros, Mr. Amoratis, Mr. Ronco, Mr. Pertile, Mrs. Sileli, Professor Sakellariou, Mrs. Saranti, Mr. Mitrano, and Mr. Tsironis as well. Thank you all again.
Thank you very much. So we have closed our event today. There is a lunch waiting for you in the reception area, and of course, you're all free to join us in the next event that is going to start in half an hour or two with the AETHER project. Thank you very much.
Hello again. Hope you had an interesting session today. Now it's the fun time. We're going to see the demonstration of the equipment, of the drones. The representative of the company will show us the main characteristics. Θα κάνουμε μια μικρή επίδειξη σήμερα, το λέω κυρίως για τους εκπροσώπους του λιμενικού. Νομίζω ότι η επίδειξη θα γίνει έξω. Ευχαριστούμε βέβαια και για τη συμμετοχή σας. Η εκπρόσωπος της εταιρείας, παρακαλώ. Καλημέρα. Θα μας πείτε δύο λόγια πριν και μετά θα πάμε έξω.
Hello everyone, my name is Irene Salimi. I'm representing JGC company today here. I'm the brand manager of DJI products in the company. I'm a surveying engineer and a certified pilot. I will tell you some things regarding the equipment we have delivered for the AETHER project, and I will explain some technical characteristics, applications the drones are used for. And after that, we will have a live demonstration. Mr. Kodostafis, who is our support engineer in the company, a surveying engineer as well, and a certified pilot, will provide the demo. We'll explain some things regarding the images we'll get. We'll try different applications of the drone. And there will be a live image in this room as well, so whoever wants to go outside, please come. But if you want to stay inside, you can have the image here as well. So we are ready to start. Our company was, some words regarding our company. Our company was started like 24 years ago. 3 engineers are the co-founders. And after 10 years, there was a change from the legal form from partnership to SA. We have different kind of solutions for several engineering applications. And actually, the company is divided in 2 sectors. We have the commercial sector, and we have the service and support sector as well. So we are involved in different kind of solutions, leading solutions. We are representing many companies in the Greek market, and not only Greek, but as well domestic as neighbor countries' markets. We are dealing with companies, with manufacturers for Balkans, Cyprus, Malta, but mainly in Greece. The fields we are working on are surveying, construction, GIS, hydrography, law enforcement, energy, environment, and other fields as well, only mentioning the most usual ones. After we sell the equipment, of course, we have to support and train all the equipment we deliver to the end customer. So we have a special department, service department, and support department to the end user. And we try to achieve the highest customer satisfaction so they can use their equipment the proper way and take advantage of all the specs and all the possibilities they have with the equipment they buy. We usually talk and deliver to the end customer, to the end user, but not only for the private, but for the public sector as well. And we have a special department for public tender procedures. And we also have a big network, a very strong network of reselling companies in the market that they are located in different business sectors in order to cover all the needs for the equipment we sell. We represent and deal with many companies, as I told you. The most important, the most well-known companies are these: Trimble, Spectra, Matterport, Faro, GSSI, DJ Enterprise, of course, Artec, Hexagon, and among all the companies we have, some are these. We don't have only one company representing and getting all the equipment from them, because we try to have the world leader manufacturers of each division. So we know that Faro is the, let's say the most well-known company for laser scanners. We chose to represent this. DJ Enterprise, of course, is a world leader in drones. They have more than 70% of the worldwide market in drones. So we are lucky to represent this as well and be the gold partner in Greece. After selling the equipment, we have to support, of course, and train the customers. So we try to organize either on-demand trainings or seminars, or just suggest some simple training to the customer in order to ensure that he will have the proper usage of the equipment he buys. And we also have the support to them. There is emails, phones, landlines, mobile phones, everything available for the customer, so we can be there for them whenever it's needed. We also have the service department, because accidents unfortunately happen. So we have the service department, who is certified by most of the companies we represent. And we are able to provide maintenance, repairs, and upgrades, whatever is needed for the equipment we sell. Everything is according to our ISO standard procedures we follow in the company, and service as well. Our company is located in Marousi, in Athens, in the center of Marousi. It's a 4th-floor building, an office building that houses the sales and marketing departments, the accounting department, our 2 warehouses, the service department, exhibition area, meeting rooms, and presentation and training room. Of course, many trainings take place out in the field, depending on the equipment. If it is for drones, we have the indoor training and the outdoor training for learning how to fly. We also have many demonstration units. Especially for drones, we have a demo of each drone, so the customer will be able to see all the applications, check, and learn how to use it and how it can be used in his field, and decide what is suitable for him. And except for the company description, this is the interesting part for you. We are coming to the AETHER project. Last year, we were lucky to be awarded with a public tender for AETHER project That means that we delivered all the aerial surveillance and the documentation equipment. I will describe following the equipment that was delivered, the drones, the software, and the training that will be provided to the trainees, to the people that will participate in the whole procedure and be the ones who will use all this equipment in their area, each one in their division. The equipment comes from DJI, from Parrot, and from Pix4D. From DJI and Parrot is the hardware, are the 3 different kinds of drones we delivered. And from Pix4D we have the software that will be needed. I will describe following in details how to use the data after we come. After we fly, after the flight, we get a batch of pictures and we will use them accordingly. There are different kinds of applications that a drone can be used. In this slide, not all the applications are described, but the main ones, I don't know if you can see with the lights, you can. Mostly, from AETHER, the equipment will be used for firefighting, for search and rescue, for law enforcement, from Coastal Guard. So, the purpose of using drones is to minimize the human risk, the danger that personnel is put to when there is a crisis, where there's a fire, a flood, or even in law enforcement, where there's an accident or a big mission. We all know that drones can reach where the people sometimes can't, or they can see stuff that a person cannot. So this is why we need a drone, especially for search and rescue. There are parts that are difficult to reach. So if we are searching for a person, the best way is to fly a drone, especially with a thermal camera, and locate the human life, and then you can send coordinates to an operations center, maybe the headquarters or somewhere that they will know exactly where to go. The same will be used for a fire, a big fire, then you know exactly where the fire started, or among smoke, or at night, that the helicopters and the airplanes stop. You know where the problem is and send from land all the forces you need. And of course, in law enforcement, it's easy to avoid accidents and ensure the safety of the personnel, the officers, because sometimes you just send the drone to be in front of you and know what to wait and avoid difficult situations. The first one of the 3 different kinds of drones we delivered is the DJI Matrice 300 RTK. It's the one you see here, and we'll have the demo afterwards. This is actually a platform, because it's not only a dedicated drone with a specific camera on it. It is a platform that can carry different kinds of payloads. So it can carry different kinds of cameras, but also other payloads. It can lift up to 2.7 kilos weight, so it may be a small pharmacy, maybe a mobile phone, water, a blanket, or whatever is needed to carry to provide to someone who needs it. Despite them, there are other payloads as cameras, thermal cameras, RGB cameras, zoom cameras, rangefinders, spotlights, speakers, and all this equipment that might be needed for different kinds of applications. There is a big transmission for 15 kilometers. We have a 15-minute max flight time, let's say with a max payload that the drone comes up to 9 kilos. we can fly maximum at about 40 minutes. 40 minutes are enough to reach somewhere, get the information we need, and come back. We have a 6-directional directional sensing and positioning. That means that it can avoid obstacles all over, front, back, side, up and down. So even if we cannot see something, or we are missing something, like a power line, like a tree, or something that would be a problem for its flight, it will see it and stop. It will give us a signal back in the remote controller that it sees something that it cannot go. We can fly with light rain. We can fly with wind, up to 6 Beaufort wind. So even if we have fire, that the winds are coming stronger, we can even fly with this kind of situation as well. The batteries are hot swappable, meaning that it flies with 2 batteries. That means that if I want to replace one of them, if I want to replace them when it comes down, when it's landing, and continue flying, I can just pull one out, replace it, then the other one, replace it, and send it back and take off again. So it's a procedure that takes some seconds. We don't have to turn off the drone, we don't have to replan the mission or so, and this saves us a lot of time in crucial situations. And of course, we have the UAV health management system that we are able to ensure that it is ready to fly. There are no errors, no problems, everything is properly working in order not to lose time and be sure that we will have a proper result. Matrice 300, as I told you, can get a lot of payloads. For AETHER project, we delivered the DJI Xenius H20T camera. This camera actually is a quadruple system, and it has 4 parts. One part is the RGB camera of 20 megapixel, and it has a maximum zoom of 200 times. That means that we can be really far from the area we're investigating and check everything that goes on there that might be kilometers away. So there's no need even to get closer or get in danger. We can see everything by far away. We also have an RGB 12 megapixel camera, a wide camera. That means that we can see a larger area when we are flying. And all these different systems the H20 has can be changed by one button from the controller. So we can start by investigating an area with a wide camera, and when we see something, we change the camera to the RGB, to the other RGB camera with a zoom, and have investigated the spot we need. We also have a radiometric thermal camera of high resolution and a frame rate of 30 frames per second. That means that we have actually a live streaming to the controller with no delays of the video, of the image the camera is taking, and even reproduce a video to the headquarters. It is able to fly at night and give us movement, motion everywhere that is needed. And we have also the rangefinder, that is actually a distance meter that goes up to 1,200 meters. So whenever we spot a problem, a missing person, a fire, something that is in our concern, we can get, with tapping on just a simple tap on the controller, we get the coordinates of this point, so we can send the position back to the headquarters and then coordinate the whole mission the right way. I don't think we have sound. This is is a presentation of the drone small video. You will see it live, of course, but just to understand something. So this is Matrice 300. What I didn't mention has to do with the streaming of the controller. When we have the controller outside, we are not the only ones that can see the picture from it. If we have a second controller that will be connected to a monitor or to a PC somewhere that someone else needs to have the data as well, maybe a van that everyone in there can have the information as well. As we will see later in the demo, we have one controller with a drone, with the operator that will be outside, and another second controller connected to the monitor, so everyone can see the image that the drone has. Another way that we can do, because of course this has a limited distance that can be done because it's via Wi-Fi. There's a different second solution that can be done via live streaming, let's say via YouTube. We find a private IP, we set it to the controller, and after that we can broadcast through internet, and everyone that we give this IP can have access to the data of the drone, the image of the drone. And the third and better way is Flight Hub software. The Flight Hub 2 is at this moment for free for everyone. It's actually an online platform that everyone who can log in have access there. The controller has Flight Hub on it as well. So if we want to have a live broadcast or even transfer some files to another location, we had this discussion about sharing files. If we have Flight Hub on a PC, no matter where, all over the world, we can have access. If we give access from the controller, we can send files and share it to everyone who is interested in them. This way, everyone is at the point of interest that we are at the same time with us, so they can have access. We will talk about it in details. The second drone we delivered is DJI Mavic 2 Enterprise Advanced. A much smaller drone, of course. It's, let's say, a pocket drone. It's something we can put with its bag in our shoulder and move. It is also, it has also a double camera, a thermal one and a visual camera, an RGB one, of high resolution, both of them as well, and with high zoom for same applications actually, but sometimes we cannot carry all this equipment on the field. So we need a light and easy solution to carry along, and when we reach, let's say I'm a firefighter, I reach a point and cannot go further. I fly the drone and see which is the best way to reach it. I find different kind of access from this and then put it back in my backpack and continue walking. We have a 10-kilometer transmission, so we can set it far away. And again, we have obstacle sensing, so there's no need to worry that if it will fall somewhere or find an obstacle. This is equipped with 3 kinds of accessories: a spotlight, a speaker, and a beacon. It is easy to coordinate a mission and give directions sometimes if we find a person that was missing. We can go with the spotlight and show him the way if it's at night, if we found him at night and cannot know the access, don't know where to go. We can do it this way. We can even transmit a message through the speaker. We can tell them what to do, or even light up the beacon and send him and show him where to go. Mostly for search and rescue, but also for all the previous applications as well. We can see it's much smaller, of course. And the next one is Paro USASC. It's really similar to the previous one. It's at the same size with similar specifications. We're having two RGB thermal cameras, two RGB 21 megapixel cameras on it with 32 times zoom as well. We have one thermal camera with a lower resolution than Mavic. It's much lighter. The previous one was 1 kilo, this is half kilo weight. We have a 4K video. It has a really strong encryption. I didn't mention earlier, all the drones have encryption. That means that we're not worried that they will be hacked, that no one will get the information about the positioning, the imaging, anything regarding the drone. All the other, the DJI drones have a 256-bit encryption. This one has double. So this is usually used by the military when they want to have the maximum encryption. That is the one here. It is dust and waterproof as well, and it can fly up to 15 meters per second. It's at the same size and for the same usage as the previous one. And we are over with the hardware and go to the software. This software solution we have provided is a Pix4D React software, is a 2D fast mapping for emergency response and public safety software. When we get a batch of pictures, we mission a flight. We plan a flight, a mission flight outside in the field. So we send the drone to create a route, actually, and get a batch of pictures that will be provided back in the PC we are going to use. We usually use photogrammetry in order to create maps, orthomosaics, DTMs, elevation maps, and different kind of stuff. This kind of software usually need really strong PCs and that can carry all this weight and can provide all this information. The Pix4D React is intended for use outside in the field, so it can be used with a simple mid-range PC computer that will be able to process all this data and give us a 2D map really quick. And this is really useful for emergency cases, we will see in the next slide. We can have distance measurements, area measurements, a PDF report that can send containing images and maps that can send to the headquarters. And this is really useful for cases of earthquakes, flooding, fires, missing persons, tactical planning, and human displacement. Not only for this, but these are cases that no engineer is there, no one knows about photogrammetry, so there's no special knowledge needed. Anybody can just press the button and get a 2D map really quickly and see all the results in the field.
Man-made conflicts and crises are increasing in both volume and complexity, impacting populations and infrastructure around the world. Emergency teams on the ground need quick and reliable insights to deliver successful operations in often challenging environments. Meet Pix4D React, the drone mapping software that provides rapid situational awareness in the field for quick decisions and collaboration. Developed with the help of emergency responders, Pix4D React is designed to be the optimal 2D fast mapping software for public safety and humanitarian aid professionals. Pix4D React is a force multiplier, enabling you to deliver critical insights when internet connection is unreliable and time is of the essence. It provides the key features to enable anyone to easily create, compare, document, and share maps.
And now the last part, this had to do with the delivery of software and hardware. And the last part has to do with the training of the participants in this project. For many years, I think for 5 years now, in Europe, we are obligated to fly with the, we need to be certified to be able to fly legally. So we need a US pilot's license, and we can fly anywhere in Europe. There are 3 subcategories for the open category. We have, according to the European regulation, we have A1, A2, and 3. We have separated A1 and A3 as one part and A2 as a second part. So if someone gets all these diplomas, all these licenses, they can fly even above crowds, near gatherings of people, above gatherings, above crowds, and everywhere. So there is no restriction. Of course, there are always restrictions regarding military areas, sport areas, archaeological monuments. But there we get special kind of licensing to fly. We can always fly everywhere if we have the proper licensing from the people in charge of the area we're flying to. We can, so all participants will have theoretical training through our asynchronous monitoring platform that is certified by the Civil Aviation Authority, and it is according to EASA. EASA is the European Union Aviation Safety Agency. This is done via the internet. There is no physical presence needed for the trainees, and usually has to do with the speed that someone wants to go through the material. Usually 3 or 4 days are enough to complete the whole material and then proceed with the exams. The exams are given online as well for 2 different subcategories, for the 2 groups, let's say, the subcategory 1 and 3, and 2 separately. 4 random questions from this question pool that is given with the material, and 30 more for the A2 category. So whenever someone feels ready and the material is over, he can arrange to have an online exam, and then he gets the certification. After he gets the certification, he gets in his email the license, and he has access to the Civil Aviation Authority platform in order to be able to declare when he's flying, for how long, what drone, and have everything organized. This will be the first part, the theoretical training and examination for the certification. Then we have the second part, that will be the theoretical training for the equipment we delivered. This includes different kind of information for the trainees that has to do with the equipment inspection, the after-flight checks and maintenance of the equipment, the flight planning, the human capabilities and security. Of course, we have to be really careful why, where, and how we fly in order to avoid accidents and cause problems. So we have the risk minimization techniques. We have different kind of safeguards on the drone for battery, for distance, for height limit, all these things that can be set in order to avoid unexpected flight issues in the field. And of course, basic technical knowledge of the equipment. This training will be done remotely. It usually takes about 5 hours to train someone remotely. In this case, for the AETHER project, we'll have around, I think, 22 people participating. So we will create 2 different groups of 10 to 12 people so that everyone will be in the position to have a real-time participation with questioning, asking stuff, and he can have all the... I'm talking, but I didn't change the slide. So he can have all the information he needs in order to be able to fly safely the drone. After that, when we finish with we explain everything about the fly safe, with the geo zones, there are restricted areas, as I told you, so he will be learning everything that will provide him the proper use of the drone. After that, there will be a practical equipment training. So it will be a 5 days training. The first day will have to do with unboxing, charging, software upgrades, the activations of the drones, all the equipment preparation, explanation of the parts of the drones. This can be done in small groups, but of course it can be done with all participants at the same time. It only has to do with the area available. We will need a big meeting room or an auditorium that everyone will be there, and we will explain them. It could be like here, that we will explain how to open it, to set it, prepare it, and do all this at the same time, so they will have access to all the equipment. This is the first day. On the next 3 days, we will separate the people to 3 groups. So we prefer small groups in this stage, that everyone will have the chance to fly and learn the equipment on the field, with mission flights, manual flights, automated and manually flying. We will have, of course, takeoff, landing many times, so that we know that each participant will be able to fly and do this by his own from the next day on. So we have 3 groups, so 3 days that will be available for this training. The last day, the 5th one, we will have as a spare day for people who need to have to repeat the procedure, or to have questions, or to have specific things they want to go through. So everybody can participate, or whatever they need, because some of the trainees are already flying, are already aware of the equipment, so they don't need to be there. But whoever needs, he has a chance to have a second day of practical equipment as well. So this is it from me. This is the theoretic part, and now we will proceed to the practical part, so to the live demo of the equipment. Mr. Kontostathis will make the flight outside and show you the equipment. I suggest we make the preparation and explanation here or outside. We can start here and show you some things. It's more quiet here, so you can see some stuff, and then we can go outside and proceed with a live demo.
Hello, everyone. My name is Christos Kodostathis. I'm support engineer in JGC, surveyor and certified pilot, as Irene mentioned. I think the introduction was great about the UAV platform and the gimbal and the camera. It's a great opportunity for us today to see outside a live demonstration about the drone, about some key features that already have been mentioned. So I think I don't want to waste any more time. I think we can set up the controllers and start outside with the demonstration.